Baby, listen to me speaking. No matter what, just let it go.
Pop, Perswayable. What's going on, boo-boos? Hope you all taking good care of yourselves. Welcome to my first attempt to provide English commentary over the IVL League, which is pretty much the professional league, especially in the China circuit, for Identity 5 teams. Even if I can't provide commentary during a specific day, I'll try to chop it all up and have it organized on my channel, since it's really difficult to get access to this content. So currently right now there is a league of sorts of some of the best players in competitive circuit. And right now it's currently in week 5. This is nothing new. And so this gameplay, we are going to start on week 5, day 3. So there's usually 3 days a week where there's matches that are being played among some of the best players in the world. And so again, we're going to start off on the final day of week 5. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start trying to cover this every single week after it. I'm really excited. I have gone through the footage. This is sometimes 6-7 hours of footage. And I have cut out all of the nonsense, all of the MCs, all of that stuff. Not that they don't do a great job, but I've condensed it to only the character selection, band, gameplay, as well as the end screen, so we understand what's going to happen. So that means that we don't have to cipher through 7 hours or 8 hours of gameplay in order to just find the action-packed great stuff. So with that being said, here is the first match between MRC and GR. Very exciting. Some of the best teams out there. All right. And MRC has selected Mercenary, Seer, Forward, and Explorer. Now, for those who are unaware, Explorer has really come up through the meta. And we also see that there is a mechanic ban, and GR PPX, one of the best hunters in the world, has also selected Dream Witch. Now, the reason why I really want to bring this over to the NAEU community, as well as perhaps some of the individuals from Southeast Asia, is because all the time I'm constantly talking about the meta. I'm constantly talking about research. And really what happens is that there's no access to this because NetEase doesn't have an official YouTube for the China community, because for the most part, YouTube is illegal over there. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of me constantly chirping about all of this high-tier gameplay, how about I bring it to the viewers with some awesome commentary so you can watch it at the convenience of your home, so you do not have to rely on people like me to tell you all the stuff that I'm seeing. I'm very excited to see how this Explorer is going to work out. This has been popular for a little bit now. I talked about this 2 or 3 months ago, about the potential of him being meta, especially when Blood Queen was nerfed, where her mirrors no longer expose Explorer, and that was before her big nerf in regards to her normal mirror gameplay. So without further ado, let's see how GR PPX does using the Dream Witch. This is the best out of 3. If the series ends on a second game, then it does not go to a third game. We can see that Dream Witch has already found the Explorer, and she's going to move in front of him. She's going to leech in an area where if he does not vault, he's going to be in trouble. You see him transitioning away. This is a very popular strategy in terms of trying to deal with Dream Witch. You want to try to transition as much as you can. This is how you counter Dream Witch to the best of your ability. And you see excellent gameplay. The Dream Witch climbed the window that prevented Explorer from being able to enter in there. Now, this is a risky move. Explorer is running back to the area where there was a leech, and the leech is going to catch up, and we're going to see how this Explorer can do. He received the owl, and let's see what he's going to do in this area. You can see that she's going to use Patroller. I would imagine that the strategy here is to use Patroller. Yup, Seer's Owl is now out, and what they're going to do is they're going to follow up with the secondary attack, and we should expect to see Explorer go down. Can he pull off some... No, good move from the Dream Witch. Explorer is going to be down here, and we see that the progress is 60%, 54%. Excellent move from PPX. This is why Dream Witch is still scary. Still such a formidable opponent. Still one of the most widely used in top circuit gameplay hunters, especially on Arms Factory. That is what makes Dream Witch especially scary. Now, one of the things that I want to let the viewers know is that right here, I had to fast forward the gameplay. During the official gameplay, there was a error. There was a glitch that wasn't on me, that wasn't on anyone other than the actual production. So we missed a little bit of that. So we see that Explorer has been eliminated. And you're going to see a little bit of those connection issues. Again, that's not on me. That was an official problem in regards to the production during the actual tournament in itself. Let's see if this patroller is going to hit. Good, excellent movement. You pretty much have to juke with the patroller in order to predict the movements of somebody hopping a window where you go route A to route B to route A halfway to route B, and then you go back to route A. It's a really popular strategy within using that patroller. We see that the forward is down. I believe that's the forward. However, they popped the last cipher. Let's see what they're going to be able to do here. Remember, to beat a Dream Witch on Arms Factory, especially against one of the top Dream Witches in the world, is extremely difficult. So if they can pull off a tie, that is really remarkable, and that is a good thing for a hunter, because a lot of top hunters, Arms Factory is their bread and butter now, especially after the Arms Factory rework. Let's see where they're going to move now. And I'm just very excited to be able to cover some of this. This is the first video of this whole thing. I'm going to be a little rusty. I'm gonna have to shake it off a little bit, get the energy out, get excited about this. It will eventually happen, so please be patient with me. And there we go. It is going to be a tie in the first half of game one. We see that MRC has received 2 points. GR has received 2 points. If you are unfamiliar with the point structure, essentially MRC will receive 1 point for every survivor that escapes, and if 4 survivors escape, they receive 5 points. And similarly, in terms of the hunter gains 1 point for every survivor eliminated, and if 4 survivors are eliminated, that is 5 points. Your objective is to win each round, and if you do, you receive 1 point. I'm not sure if that's a little confusing, but I did the best to explain it. So for instance, in regards to the point system, if MRC wins now instead of tying, if their hunter goes in there and is able to eliminate at least 3 players, they win the round. And that is how it's calculated, and they'll be up 1-0. And we are fast forwarding, right? That's what we got. Time, your time is important. We're into the selection phase. This time we are going to see MRC XC as the hunter. We're going to see GR as the survivors. We see that forward has been banned. And remember, a lot of these players are really familiar with one another. They've been competing against each other for a long time. So sometimes you're going to see bans that are hand-selected based on the most formidable opponent that they are facing at that present time. We see Gravekeeper, Mechanic, we have Seer, we have Mercenary, and this is also going to be on Arms Factory. That was something that I've been trying to bring over to the NAEU community for the most part. First of all, do you like the graphics? I was thinking about removing this from the video and just getting right to the gameplay, but I kind of wanted to show the graphics because the graphics are a little beautiful. But anyways, back onto my previous point. This is something that I've been trying to tell the NAEU community, is that when it comes to high-tier tournament gameplay, when you face the best of the best hunters, if you can tie as survivors, your hunter is happy. I've been talking about this since KOA 2. Your hunters are happy because a lot of these hunters, the really, really good hunters, it's very difficult to tie against them. The best of the best hunters, it can be really difficult to even win against them as well. So that's why getting that tie was very important, and we have to see how MCRs or how my God, I'm like a little nervous right now. MRC XC's hunter is going to perform. You know what's funny is that once I get into the rhythm of this stuff is going to start coming out like it's nothing. Right now, like I'm trying to think super hard of what I'm trying to say, but once you get into the groove of trying to cast some of this sort of gameplay, you just get with it. Wow, look at the Dream Witch trying to find where the survivor is. Wow. Excellent game sense for that. So, What is Seer going to do in this location? We see she's running a little bit forward. She's going to leech now. She puts the leech so it blocks off any sort of maneuvering. Good gameplay. Puts the owl on just in time. So here's the question. Dream Witch is going to take this pallet down, and she's probably going to wait out this owl. Yep, so she's going to focus on transition. Is she going to try to hit him before the pallet? Is this going to happen? Does she get it? Oh, she got it! She got the hit! What perfect timing! Oh my God! All right. Let's see where XC is going to maneuver. We see now that Seer is going to continue transitional kite. And ladies and gentlemen, this is how a lot of people try to kite Dream Witch. You want to transitional kite as much as you can, trying to use these objects in your way. But we're going to see a patroller. And this is why they use patroller with the main body. I remember when Dream Witch, a lot of people were playing her. They couldn't figure out the best way to use that patroller. Do you use the patroller with the main body? Do you use it with a follower? Most of the time, it really depends. But a lot of these high-tier hunters, they like to hit you. They like to catch up to you. They run in front of you with their main body. They patroller you with the main body because by the time that patroller hits you, by the first or second bite, the leech, not the spawn, but the leech catches up. You can follow up with a hit, and then you can re-leech them because the leech has regenerated by them. Very popular strategy among Dream Witch users, and we can see that they're on the chair now, and let's see what motion and movement we're going to have. The question is, who's going to go in for the rescue? Remember, they have a mercenary, they have a gravekeeper, they also have a mechanic. Interesting choice to get rid of that forward instead of the mechanic. It's usually very well known that being a forward against a really good Dream Witch can be very difficult at times. Yeah, there's multiple leeches, there's spawns on the map. I mean, there's a lot of ways to counter them, and really, you'll see a lot of Dream Witches also banning mechanics, so it's always interesting how they can flip-flop depending on the team that they're going against. We see that this person is still on the chair. They are down to 3 ciphers, and it does not look like there is going to be a rescue. And that's a very interesting strategy. Remember, GR, what they really need to do here is try to eliminate, or rather, GR needs to try to get 2 people out in order to tie this match, 3 people out in order to win. We see the patroller. Excellent patroller. Gets the first hit on the mechanic. We're going to see this motion. Let's see where Dream Witch is going to move. She's got to move that main body, though. There we go. All right. So going to catch up with the main body, making sure that they're not out of zone. Going to patroller here. So we see the patroller on the mercenary. Let's see where this move. She's going to catch up. Mercenary's already been hit once. She's moving in. Here we are. Let's see if she's going to catch him. She's going to take down this pallet. So we see that the mercenary is injured. The mechanic is injured. The only one that's not injured is the gravekeeper. They're at 1 cipher. Beautiful hit. Mechanic is down now. Really needs to do as much multitasking as she can. We have seen that they are at 1 cipher. It is over halfway. We see Gravekeeper using that dig in order to making sure that they do not get injured for no reason. That Gravekeeper is going to keep them alive a little bit. Taking the pallets now, making sure that a survivor cannot use that a little bit later. Now we see this repositioning by the cipher. She can see that that cipher has not really been utilized or has not been decoded. So she's not too worried about it. That's why you do not see her leaving that spawn or the leech there. Let's see her move forward. Really doing the best that she can in order to make sure that nobody pops this cipher. That cipher is almost done. I do not believe, though, that she has changed from patroller. She still has patroller, which means that she has a lot at her hands. She can abnormal. She can blink. I'm surprised that she has not changed to blink. But there's different reasons to do it at different times, especially since nobody went in for the rescue. We'll see if she's going to... Nope, so she's going to decide not the patroller, especially since Gravekeeper. That's actually a good move. Gravekeeper immediately digs, avoids the patroller, has forced these survivors to transition away from the ciphers that she doesn't want them near. You can see this sort of map control. Ladies and gentlemen, this is map control. Really pushing them to the other side of the map, away from the ciphers, especially since one was really close to being done. And we're going to see, you can see that she's leaving that leech or spawn, but most likely a leech, over by that cipher or spawn. I actually don't know. We can see one getting a little adventurous, running over there towards that cipher, closing in on MKK, one of the best survivors in the entire world. Really still just showing that map control, showing that patience, not being over eager, making sure that the ciphers are in her favor. We see that the ciphers are on pretty much almost one side of the map. There's one sort of in ruins, but it hasn't been done. That's why she monitored it. And so really there was just a lot of betting on that one cipher that they were trying to get at, and she had the ability to really push them out. I mean, if this is map control, this is how you define it. This gameplay right here. See, hits down the mercenary. Mercenary is now going to go down. You see, so she switched to abnormal. And the one cipher that they were working on has now been abnormaled. Is that a word? Abnormaled? I'm getting excited now. I told you in the beginning of this, I was like, hey, just give me a little bit. The energy will come out, and the energy's coming out right now. This gives her much more flexibility. You can see that she's going to multitask when you stop using the follower or leech that has picked up the survivor. They still run forward. That allows you to move your main body. It allows you to continue multitasking, especially if you're in pursuit. And this is what allowed her to really be able to pick up that mercenary, is the fact that she abnormaled. And because she abnormaled, it gave her time to be able to transition properly and to also make sure that they have good rocket chair placement. Now let's see what's going to happen here. This is a very intense mode. Is she going to get it? All right, so she swings. She swings on the hit. They're still at one cipher. She's going after the mechanic. Mechanic goes down. Are they going to be able to pop? No. Still having good control over this cipher. Does not have abnormal for, I believe, another 20 seconds, 25 seconds. It depends on which one that she's using. Oh, there we go. Okay. You know, I remember the first time trying to MC a Dream Witch, I felt so overwhelmed. It was in Koa 2, a Gaming Grizzly. I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea what was going on. And after being able to coach and play with B4U for a while, being able to watch KKZ, being able to watch some other top Dream Witches for months and months and months. And actually, Paul Blooms is a decent Dream Witch as well, believe it or not. My leg knows how to play with her too. Be able to be more and more familiar with the strategies, and it's a lot easier to MC over what she's doing and exactly what train of thought they're doing, and the different strategies between going from patroller to blink, or from patroller to abnormal, or even starting off with blink. I've seen some of these Dream Witch users start off with blink depending on their skill set. So we see that one survivor has been cheered. The other two are injured. We're going to see where she's going to move towards. Yeah, it does get easier to be able to explain some of these strategies, though, with Dream Witch. But, man, I won't ever forget MCing in Koa 2. Gaming Grizzly and I watching Dream Witch play, and we're just looking at each other, trying to give live commentary. We're both just like silently mouthing to each other. We're like, what do we say? It's funny how fast time goes by. And maybe instead of me talking about how fast time goes by, we should probably be probably talk about this. Well, beautiful hit on there. However, let's see. They're still at one cipher, able to get that. That was a beautiful move. Let's see where Dream Witch is going to relocate now. Still making sure that they baby this cipher. Abnormals it again. And again, you see this map control, and that's really what makes Dream Witch scary. In the beginning of the game, a Dream Witch isn't as scary on Arms Factory as what you can see towards the late game. We've seen this over and over in tournament gameplay. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, Miracle, or MRC, only needs to get a tie in order to tie it, of course, because that's what GR did. But if they eliminate 3 survivors, they win this round. It's a best out of 3 rounds, not 3 matches. Let's see where Dreamwitch is going to relocate. Again, they have one that's already been down. We have the Mercenary who's been cheered. Let's see what MKK can do. One of the best survivors. We see Dreamwitch trying to locate, trying to bring him over. Boom, gets him down. And that is going to be a 4-person elimination for Miracle to take the first round. We could see that within this match, they receive 5 points. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you receive 5 points for eliminating or escaping 4 survivors. This is one of the reasons why Dreamwitch is still so dominating, even in high-tier competitive gameplay. The multitasking, the ability to have so much flexibility in the game between starting off with one trait and being able to switch to another, and you have so many cards in your hand with this character, and that's what makes Dreamwitch so scary. The flexibility, the ability to be fluid, the ability to be dynamic, and that is her strongest point as a character. And again, the abnormal is really what was able to save her, or not really save her, but really allow her the ability not only map control, but to slow the map down and pick them off one by one. Let's get to the second half of this. We see up there that Miracle, or MRC, they have 1 win, and we can see that GR has 1 loss. We see that Miracle has banned Dreamwitch. They don't want to deal with it, and we see that GR has banned Forward and Mechanic. Isn't that so interesting that years and years later, 2 years later, whatever the time frame is, we are still seeing some of the same top bands. Same top bands. And I am not going to announce any of these survivors currently until they are done selecting. I learned my lesson a long time ago. I'd be like, oh, they're picking a thief. And then we know they're going to change it. So we're going to just hold off on that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining with me so far. Again, I have taken hours and hours of footage. I have cut it down to make it easier and more enjoyable for the viewer. I do have a little bit of scenes in here for the selection phase, the band phase, which is both the 1-in-1. And I also have the gameplay and then the scorecards immediately after. I've removed everything else, so hopefully it's a little bit more enjoyable for everybody to watch. We see First Officer, Seer, Mercenary, as well as a Priestess. Now, if people are wondering why we are seeing First Officer, this is actually more popular than what you think in top competitive gameplay. The reason being so, especially with Sculptors and other hunters, the idea is we do not want to feed the hunter. We do not want to feed them. We don't want them to hit us. And that's where First Officer comes into play, because you can waste a Sculptor's time. It's also the reason why we're seeing Explorer more, because the idea is that we can hide. I'm just happy to have the opportunity to really start showing some of this gameplay for everybody else to start watching, so you can collect data. Maybe you can find things that I am not. That's the purpose of being a community. That's the purpose of everybody working together to try to elevate our gameplay and to get better and better. That is the reason why I started this YouTube, and I just want to give a really big shout out to NetEase for providing this opportunity for us to start bringing this over a little bit more for the US NAEU English commentary, and I really got to stop calling it US commentary. Like, no, just call it English Perswayable. And here we are not going just yet, but we're about to go in like 5 seconds. But again, one more time, we got that Mercenary, Seer, Priestess. Hopefully I was able to explain the mentality as to why we are seeing First Officer. A lot of these high-tier players believe that First Officer is a really strong counter to Sculptor, and that's also why they chose that First Officer. And it's this sort of new idea as to why a lot of these high competitive players and gamers and clans and factions are no longer using Perfumer as much, although some still do, and that's for a different video at a different time. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we got GRPPX, one of the best hunters, using Sculptor on Red Church. We are going to see that a portal has already been placed. Can we talk about that teamwork right there? Within the first few seconds of a match, Priestess already had the portal down exactly for that seer. That was amazing teamwork. Talk about how great these teams communicate for one another. They immediately knew the spawn point. They immediately knew where that hunter was. They immediately knew where that hunter was going to go to. And Seer immediately, I know I'm using that word too much, knew exactly what they needed to do in order to escape. Excellent gameplay. That is just crazy, crazy strategy. And you can see that PPX purposely missed. So in my opinion, from what I see, I think PPX purposely missed that hit with the owl and then immediately used the wall to see if they could absorb the owl, didn't hit the wall, or rather Sculptor, and instead of spamming more, just decided to swing and was able to get that. So beautiful move from the hunter. That's my interpretation of it. If you don't interpret it as such, well, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to ask PPX. We have some more portals. I think PPX was predicting that the Seer would probably go back into the portal. Let's see where they're going to go. Or they were avoiding a stun. It could be either one, but no, that wouldn't make sense. Anyways, let's keep going. Man, I am rusty with this MC and stuff. Just remember, started from the bottom. That is where I am right now. All right, let's see these sculptures and see how they're moving around. Gets the hit. Beautiful turn. Beautiful turn. Gets that hit. We are at 3 ciphers. That was beautiful teamwork from the Seer and Priestess. That is top tier survivor strategy and the ability to communicate. That was excellent gameplay from them. Let's see what the the Sculptor is going to be able to do to try to slow these individuals down. And we can see that the Priestess, excellent jukes on all of those sculptures. Amazing. Let's see how this first officer is going to work. Just goes in immediately for that first hit on the first officer. Are they going to be able to get this Seer down? Hits down that Seer. Seer's going to go down. They are at 3 ciphers still. You know, I think that Sculptor, I said I was going to do this. I made a video on this a while ago. Beautiful hit. Ends up hitting the Priestess one time with those sculptures. I think a lot of people underestimate how difficult Sculptor can be. I think that I think a lot of people try to say that Sculptor is too easy to use, but I think that in order to really use her on a high tier strategy where you're multitasking like this, takes a lot of good game sense. It's not just about using your sculptures in order to take somebody down. It's also your ability to multitask when you have somebody down and also your ability to prevent those rescues. And you can see that PPX is just one of the best hunters with some of the best game sense. Beautiful hit right there. Mercenary, is he going to be able to get the rescue? Is able to get the rescue. Seer goes down. They are at 3 ciphers still. So this is looking all right for PPX. As of now, we're going to have to see what the survivors are capable of doing. Again, another hit on that mercenary. So we see that first officer is 1 chip away. Mercenary is 1 chip away. We also see that Priestess has been chipped once. So PPX though. And the final cipher pops. Wow. Final cipher has popped in an instant, where PPX is looking in such a good area and such a good notion. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. They get that cipher pop, and that is why it's so important to prevent a survivor from a 3 or a 2 cipher pop in the early kiting. And if it does happen, it's why your anti-rescue has to prevent the rescue. So we're going to see, if you want my honest opinion, we're going to see how Sculptor is able to come back from this. It's going to be a very difficult thing if they are able to do it. However, we do see that Sculptor does have teleport and is currently going after MRC Weirdo. Knows exactly where that portal is. This Priestess is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And we did have to fast forward it a little bit because, again, technical issues right there. And I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, we saw that PPX was able to come back, get the tie. For those who may have just missed that mercenary did go down, and because the dungeon was on the other side of the map, they just surrendered, which makes perfect sense to save time. And we see, again, Miracle and GR, they have tied this. However, MRC is up 1-0, so this is round 2, and it is important for GR to win this next match, or at least tie it to try to force this to a game 3. If MRC wins, therefore, that means that MC has won 2-0 with the round system, and that would conclude the game between GR and MRC for this day. We see that MRC XC is now going to return as the Hunter, GR as the survivors. We are waiting for a ban system. We see that Dream Witch has been banned, and of course, Forward and Mechanic have also been banned on the same exact map. You know, I'm still just blown away by that Priestess and Seer. I really am. Just excellent gameplay. That is something that survivors need to strive for in regards to that communication. Are you and your Priestess 100% comfortable with one another? Do you know where the Hunter is spawning, which survivor they're going after, and does the survivor really even need you in order to be able to transfer out? Some areas are easy to transition, some areas are not, and even if you understand that and you understand the spawn points, the question is are you taking into account to which survivor it is? If that was a mercenary, would you still have done the same thing? Or if that was a Forward, would you have still have done the same thing? Or are you only doing that for your Seer because that's one of your main decoders with that format? Again, we see First Officer, Priestess, we see Seer, and we see Mercenary. Remember, the idea behind utilizing First Officer is to ensure that you are not feeding that Sculptor and that you are not being hit. It allows you to go in for a rescue later on, and also allows your ability to not feed the Sculptor, which we all know once she has max persona, she is a very, very dangerous character. And without further ado, we're going to get to that next sequence here. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was supposed to start. I think I forgot to cut this part out. But how about we look at the graphics, right? It's beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. All right. Well, maybe seeing the stage kind of gives everybody an idea of how official this sort of tournament gameplay is. And I remember meeting GR, man. They're some really, really great people. I met them in Koa too. All right. Here we are. XC as Sculptor. And are they going? Yep. So we're going to move forward. They're going to move away from this area, go into a more congested area. Let's see how these survivors are going to transition. We are seeing that transitioning right now. And that's an excellent move from XC, actually. XC understands. They've transitioned away from Broken. XC knows that they are circling, and he's trying to cut that off. And is now going to try to engage with the Priestess. This can be in a difficult area, especially since Priestess is very scary on these maps. Let's see how she moves. And by the way, Sculptor does have blink. Does not. Oh, does hit. Okay, so we hit the Seer's Owl. I completely missed that. Wow. Excellent. Now Priestess has to worry not only for the sculptures, but also the blink. Let's see how Priestess is going to use this area. Blinks immediately. Swings around. Gets the hit. Somebody is now down with 5 ciphers remaining. Between 50 and 64% on some of this cipher progress. And this is one of the consequences of these slow decoding teams. We know that it is popular meta to make sure that you have characters who can last a long time. First Officer, Mercenary, Forward. And one of the consequences to that, however, is that the decoding is significantly slower. The idea, though, is that put these characters in the right hands, it will be very, very difficult for you to kill them. That's the idea behind it. You wait for accelerated decoding, and you kind of sort of catapult your success towards the end game with that decoding exponential increase. We see that no one is going in for the rescue. That's not an unpopular strategy. The mindset behind this is we don't really want to try to rush in for a rescue. We need to try to focus on decoding to set ourselves up for the tie. That's a very important point that people, I think, should adopt a little bit more. If somebody goes down too fast, which happens all the time, Priestess did not play that bad. But Sculptor really showing their scariness and their effectiveness and their ability to really use these skills to their fullest potential. You shut a survivor down, it's better off to leave them in order to try to at least get a tie, especially since this is round 2 and they cannot afford to let MRC win, or today's session between the two will be concluded. We see that all 3 have full health, and let's see what XC is going to use. And that's another thing that I see a lot of top sculptors using. They're using that sort of ability to just kind of scope the area, discontinue it right away, and keep moving. Survivors are not doing that bad of a job, though. Really what they're trying to do is really separate themselves. And that did connect. That's 1 chip. So what I was trying to say is their ability to try to transition away, but it's really hard to transition away from a sculptor once they have max presence, because now with that max presence, they're going to be able to really scope around the map using their second ability. Let's see how Seer does. This is going to be a difficult spot now that both pallets are out. Seer really trying to force. Yep, gets the hit. 1 chip away, however. Let's see what GR Kong can do. He's going to move around this area. Needs to be very careful about these sculptures. They are still at 2 ciphers. You see right there, multitasking. Takes a second to allow Seer to continue kiting, making sure that that cipher progress is not going to be eliminated. See, that's another really, really good veteran move. Your ability to say, you know what, I can give this survivor a little bit of time. Beautiful blink, turns around with the 180 and also takes down the Seer. That was really good gameplay. We call that a double back, where what the hunter was doing is you go into the pallet and you immediately jump backwards, hoping that the survivor is going to throw the pallet. In this instance, because it can be a little bit longer for a sculptor to swing their ability or swing with a basic attack, you double back, throws the pallet down, you blink, you 180, and immediately swing just in case they try to vault. And that takes a lot of experience. You have to be an expert with blink in order to do that. If you have a delay with your blink, that can be very difficult to do. That's the typical sort of I stand still for 0.3 to 0.5 seconds before activating the blink ability. And that's something that a lot of the best hunters in the world, they have that blink down. That is so important, your ability to blink immediately and swing. Let's see where XC is going to move. You can see these survivors are actually doing a really good job at trying to contain and trying to kind of spread out a little bit. And we see that Kong is moving away. Kong needs to be careful. There's not much over there. And that's why you see Kong not going towards that exit gate and instead is running that route, because Kong understands I've already used the pallets over here. I can't afford to go into an area where I'm cornered off and I have no pallets at my disposal. You know, I have to give my hats off to GR. They are really trying here. And they are really, really just... going to the corner of the map as well is going to force the sculptor to make a choice. You go into a corner of the map and then sculptor decides to go and pick you up. Well, you're in a corner of the map. You're exposing the rest of the map for free access. And that's why XC is not biting the bullet there. XC is being patient, making sure not going after Kong prematurely. You see this patience, no panicking. Oh, hitting him. Seer is 1 chip away still. Mercenary is about to go down. First officer, you can see that first officer is still 1 chip. We're going to see where MKK is going to go. Question is what is Kong repositioning themselves at that cipher? Or is XC pretending to apply pressure only to go back? And that seems exactly what the case is. Gets Kong down. 2 people now down. Look at this patience. Only person up is now MKK, who is on the other side of the match. You really see what XC was doing there, pretending to engage with the first officer. First officer most likely told their team, coming after me. They try to meet up, and XC, excellent ability to see where these two survivors are. One is now popped up. All three back are and popped up. And of course, there's a disconnection. I apologize for that again. That's not on me, ladies and gentlemen. That was a problem with the official production. And we're going to see what happens now. We see that MKK is one chip away. We still have Kong as well as their teammates still together. The ability, second ability, does not show vision of them. And if they are healing, look at this patience. This is absolutely phenomenal patience. And survivors trying not to be overzealous, trying to make sure that they take their time as well. This is a chess match. This is very, very intense. This is one of the best matches that I have seen in a very, very long time, and I am very proud and honored to making sure that this is one of the first matches that's a part of this series on the NAEU sort of English commentary version. See where XC is going to go. Kong is making their move. Kong is trying to get that cipher. We see that the mercenary is also at 41%. Where is Kong going to go? See how good that ability is, able to push them off again. Has to be very careful with that first officer. First officer is just one chip away. Engaging with the seer. Seer's trying to use this to their ability. It's going to try to transition away. Gonna see, does not chip them. Kong really moving away as much as they can. Has not regained another owl. Teleports over here to go after MKK. MKK uses, oh my, wow, beautiful sculpture on a first officer using pocket watch. Absolutely amazing. That's what XC was looking for. Was able to use their ability, not have to waste a basic attack, and have the ability to pick up that survivor immediately before any potential cipher pop. Remember, XC doesn't know exactly how all of these ciphers are doing, and was able to immediately pick them up. Is he going to be able to prevent? Hits them 3 times, stuffs the save, pops the cipher, going to go in for a rescue. Let's see what happens between MKK and Kong. Both are still up. Is able to get MKK down. Kong may also go down. This is not going to be looking good for GR. Because GR, oof, excellent job from XC. Excellent patience from XC. Tried to get that rescue off in time to try to guarantee a tie. We see that Mercenary is going to be able to escape. However, Mercenary is not going to escape because Mercenary knows we cannot afford to be 3-personed right now. If we are 3-person elimination right now, we lose today. That's over. MRC gets the second round. This is forcing oh, beautiful elbow pad. Right past. Right past. Let's see if they're going to be able to pull something off. That was a really good move from the Mercenary. Is able to hit them, activating the tide turner. Are they going to be able to get them? Valiant effort from Mercenary is still up. Kong is running. Kong is still up as well. We see, that's the first officer rather. Let's see, first officer is down. Are they going to be able to get Kong and the Mercenary out? Oh, this is so close. This is so close. We see both of them trying to crawl. We see Kong. We don't know where Kong is. Oh, they're both crawling out. He's going to put, yep, let's see. Is Mercenary going to be able to get out? Picks him up and is going to keep transferring him out. Goes back to the Mercenary, puts the Mercenary on the chair. Are they going to have enough time to get back to that first officer? Most likely. Oh, this is so close. This is so close. Remember, cannot go, gets him down. And that is going to be a 3-person elimination from MRC. I got so focused in there, even I didn't know what was happening. That was intense. Excellent gameplay from the Sculptor. Excellent gameplay from the survivors. Really taking their time. We see that MRC is rewarded 3 points. That is going to conclude the matchup between GR and MRC. Remember, although there have been 4 matches today, 1 round equals 2 matches. And if you win out of those 2 matches, you get 1 point for each round that you win. And that is how this tournament is. Excellent, excellent gameplay. And I want to thank you all for joining with me so far. I have not decided if I'm going to upload these videos independent or if I'm going to take all of the footage and just put it into one video to catch up, because we are moving on to week 6, starting the week that this is being uploaded. Remember, this is week 5, day 3.
Baby, listen to me speaking. Know how to move, just let it
Pop, Perswayable. What's going on, boo-boos? Welcome to CPG versus CQ. We are still week 5, day 3. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the professional league over in China. I have received full access and approval from NetEase, having the ability to provide U.S. commentary on this sort of matchup and these games, and to provide them over here, because I'm always constantly talking about the meta and research and game data and what works in tournament gameplays versus legendary rank mode. And what I have decided to do is to take 6, 7, 8 hours of footage some weeks and compiling it all down to 2 to 3 hours of footage to make sure that it's more enjoyable and easier for the viewer to watch. Thank you for joining with me, boo-boos, as we try to become better and analyze this gameplay. A lot of people are asking me, Perswayable, will you coach me? Will you coach my team? And the answer is, well, how about I just coach everybody and provide the data and the analysis firsthand to you, so you do not have to rely on anyone else other than your own observation. And I appreciate everybody being with me for this journey. How about we start speeding this up a little bit, because you're not here just to listen to me talk. However, if you are, I love and appreciate you too. For those unfamiliar with the point system, it's a 3-round elimination. Well, it's not really an elimination, it's a league. And anyways, yeah, so it's 3 rounds, 2 matches per round. Points are tallied up per each match, and whoever wins those first 2 matches will win the first round. Same thing with match 3 and 4 wins the second round, so on and so forth. Best out of 3. We see the selections as of now: Mercenary, Priestess. We see Mechanic, and we see Forward as well. We see that CPGU has decided to ban the Seer. Question is, who is CPG going to select as their hunter? I'm very, very, very proud that NAEU, we just had a winter tournament. Congratulations to B4U and Legacy. I think it's Legacy, as well as PR. You all did very well, and you should be very excited about yourselves, as well as all of the other competitors in that winter tournament that was ran and produced by the community. Very proud of all of you for putting that together. Game and Grizzly was awesome as an MC, and he also had a friend with them as well. I think Poch. I don't know how to say the name. I think it might be Poke. If I'm not saying it correctly, I am so terribly sorry. I wanted to say that you also did an amazing job as well. It was really enjoyable being able to watch all of you. And hopefully we could bring a lot of this international gameplay footage on more of an international level by exposing it to the NAEU and Southeast Asia community. And again, I do try to cut up the footage to be as quickly as possible. There's a whole bunch of stuff that usually happens in between. I try to get rid of it. I know I'm talking a little bit too much right now, but this is the introduction of this video here, and I like to at least be thorough and explain what this league is, how it's measured, how it's scored, and the reason why I'm bringing this over to my YouTube, as well as the commentary. And the reason why I did not cut this out is just so we could see these graphics. You know, these graphics, this kind of reminds me of that Pokemon game. Which Pokemon was that on the N64? not Pokemon Snap, the other Pokemon. What was it? It was like a Pokemon like Battle something or Pokemon Stadium, I think. Yeah. All right. How about we move this forward a little bit? All right, so because that took a little bit of time, my bad. I thought I was good at editing this. We have a Mercenary, Mechanic, Priestess forward, and a Dream Witch. And believe it or not, I do not watch this gameplay before other people. And let's see where CPGU is going to go. Usually they go straight upwards towards the double story, but this CPGU has decided to go towards the middle. I did a video on this not long ago talking about different Dream Witch strategies and different routes. And we saw that LN and Dow 5 decided to go into that northeast corner. So this is an interesting route for the Dream Witch. But we're going to see how is it going to work out, especially against a Priestess over here. Priestess is very, very dangerous on Ever Sleeping Town. ZQMK, one of the best players as well in the entire world. You can see how this Priestess is using these portals to their advantage. Priestess users, take note. These are some excellent portals, every portal being utilized to the maximum capability. And we see that the Dream Witch is really just trying to catch up to this Priestess. Remember, very difficult for this Dream Witch to try to move on because you're going to have to deal with a Mercenary, you're going to have to deal with a forward, and then you're going to have to just try to maybe perhaps just randomly stumble upon the Mechanic. That can be a very dangerous strategy and time consuming. However, that's exactly what this Dream Witch is going to do, and we're going to see where this next character decides to move and run towards. You can see that Yu has been able to find Long, one of the best survivors as well. I got to see Long play in Call of Abyss 2. Blink did not go through the barrier. Let's see what Long is going to be able to do here. He's probably going to take this hit and then continue to transition outwards, forcing the Dream Witch to have to move the main body to follow forward. However, main body has not moved yet. They're utilizing the regular spawn follower. You can see they're going to hit Priestess once. That was the leech, but the leech is now removed. All 4 survivors. Nobody is currently leeched as of now. They are down to 4 ciphers. One has already been popped, and the forward is about to pop another cipher, and we're going to see those ciphers being removed or being moved down to 3. Let's see what this Priestess is going to be able to do. Again, remember, this is very difficult for Dream Witches sometimes, is really being able to hold down a Priestess on a big map. On a map like Arms Factory, you have a little bit more options and a little bit more counterplay, but the bigger these go... Oh, another blink does not go through. That is really unfortunate for the Dream Witch. Let's see how they're going to move after this Priestess goes through the portal with 1. This Priestess really utilizing those portals to their advantage. Long portals that requires a little bit of a readjustment from the Dream Witch. And really, this is such a good Priestess player, making sure that every portal is strategically placed. Gets the Priestess down. They are at 2 ciphers. Mechanic, halfway health. Forward, full health. Mercenary, full health. This is going to be a very difficult position for you. And if, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't remember what I'm talking about, I released a video not long ago reviewing your gameplay series with Dream Witch, talking about this. I think this may have been a Group 6 layout on Ever Sleeping Town, and how a lot of the Dream Witches prefer going to that northeast corner of the map. And so I was very surprised to see that sort of that middle route, but it was really unfortunate for you to have to stumble upon a Priestess player, especially on Ever Sleeping Town. That's not easy for even some of the best Dream Witch players out there. But without further ado, let's see how Yu is able to recover and overcome the dilemma that Yu is currently in. We see that's going to hit the forward. Forward's going to go down, but they are at 1 cipher. I do not know the current progress of that cipher. Let's see if Priestess is able to buy as much time as they can. Final cipher has been popped. Now, watch them disperse. They're going to try to move away from that area to allow one of those exit gates to be done. Beautiful gameplay from ZQ. ZQ has some really, really good survivors, really good gameplay. Long has been playing for a while. I think maybe some of the viewers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was MHS. I think that was the clan name that GR went against in the KOA 2 finals. I may be wrong. No, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Long was part of that. And we see a 4-person escape from ZQ. Excellent work from the Priestess, really showing how dominant that character is, how much of a pain in the butt that character can be. And we see that ZQ has gone up 5-0 in the first game of round 1. Now we are getting to game 2 of round 1. This now means that CPG, they have to escape with 4 survivors. If they do not escape with 4 survivors, that means that ZQ wins round 1. That is how the tournament works. It's how the point system works. And we're going to see who's banned. So, ZQ, ban Priestess. They don't want to deal with Priestess on Ever Sleeping Town. And so we're seeing a mechanic. We're seeing Mercenary, Seer, and Forward. Very popular team comp that's been around for a very long time. And we see that ZQ is also going to run Dream Witch. The question is, what is the route that YMM is going to choose, and what spawn point, what group layout are they going to have? And again, these are some of the graphics that I have decided to leave up temporarily. I just think that they're really cool. And in the future, I may avoid these scenes to just kind of move it along a little bit faster. But how about we get back to that sort of character selection right before the gameplay? You could see, actually, nope, we're not getting there. This is great. This reminds me of KOA 2, where like Grizzly and I had no idea what the transitions were and we just started talking. Yep, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So remember I said, how about we look at the character selection? I thought this screen was going to pop up. And to try to keep this stuff genuine, I actually don't watch the gameplay in advance. I'm watching it for the first time with you. All right. All I'm doing is I'm editing between the matches, and I edit as I go. So let's see where YMM goes. This is the northeast corner that I was talking about. However, we're going to see if YMM is going to cut. Nope, not going to cut towards the middle. Now, this is the route that I have seen LN. This is the route that I've seen Dow 5 run with their Dream Witch. They're going to Leech, and typically a lot of survivors avoid this area, at least between Dow 5 and LN, some of the best. And we're going to see what Seer can do in this area using that double story to their advantage. And if you think what I'm saying is weird, well, I do too. I didn't understand why a lot of survivors avoided that spot for a very long time. We see that CPG is doing the best that they can in this location, avoiding this patroller. Let's see, is it going to get it? Are they going to get it? Beautiful, beautiful job from CPG Ming. Now they're going to transfer out there, showing, hey, if I want to use the double story, I'm going to use the double story, and used it effectively to jump down and be able to avoid that patroller. And so let's see, gets that hit on the Dream Witch. Now CPG Ming trying to move away, trying to transition, forcing this Dream Witch to have to move the main body. So I believe there is no leech. There is only a follower. Nope, I'm wrong. Of course there's a leech. What am I talking about? I'm not deleting that. Like I said, I do this in one take. I do this in one take, and that goes as well for my mistakes. So I'm not about to edit all of this up and act all polished and all that stuff, act like I'm perfect. Because like y'all know when I go on live feed, that's why I got to practice, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little rusty. All right, so we see that CPG Ming has been seated down. We see the Mercenary trying to creep in there a little bit. They're down to 4 ciphers. 4 ciphers, gets the hit. Using Patroller. Is Seer going to be able to get away? Is able to follow through. Now, this Hunter doesn't have to worry too much about Seer because Seer is still leeched. Mercenary is leeched. It's not too... That's even if the leech is following though. So let's see where they're going to move. We see that CPG Ming has gone down. We see that they are still at 4 ciphers as well. Forward moving over here. Beautiful blink hit against the forward. Really, really good move. Pushes them out. Going to relocate. Going to put them at this rocket chair. Decides to put them at that rocket chair instead of the other one. I feel like the other rocket chair, I don't know what the cipher layout is. And if they're decoding any of those ciphers, it doesn't seem like they are. ZQ, though, doing a really good job with this route. CPG Ming may be eliminated. Let's see what happens next. Hits. Mechanic gets the rescue. Let's see where they go now. Sierra's trying to move away. Swings at the pallet. Did they overextend? Oh! Oh, beautiful move from ZQ. Is that Mechanic's first save? Seems like Mechanic didn't have tide turner. Maybe that's also part of their strategy as well. Unless Mechanic saved and I forgot. That's a thing. I think I said in one of the other videos, my memory is the older I get, it's like the size of a goldfish. See where ZQ is going to relocate. We see that they're at 3 ciphers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember that ZQ only needed to eliminate 1 survivor. They escaped with 5 survivors, or 4 survivors, because, you know, you can't have 5 survivors. Dummy Perswayable. They escaped with 4 survivors. That garnered them 5 points. They only really needed to eliminate 1 survivor in order to win the first round. So that should be noted that this round has been concluded. And we'll continue watching the gameplay, however. Let's watch CPG and let's see how they're going to do for the rest of the match. Still trying to give this their all. We see that Mechanic is decoding with their puppet. It's at 55%. Forward uses. Oh, beautiful move from the Dream, which predicts that. Gets the blink. Hits the forward. And let's see where Mechanic is going to run towards. You see that forward is still doing the best that they can. That was really good from ZQYMM. Understood that forward was about to stun her and decides to switch back to their main body. That was very good. Very, very good. Those little subtle movements that we forget about can make a big difference. Now we're going down in the basement. We're going to see forward being cheered. They are at 2 ciphers. Again, this round's been concluded, but I like CPG style. I like that they are going to continue playing and giving it all. They take the George down. If you guys don't know what a George is, that's what my leg calls doll or puppet. It's actually the doll. I think I referred to it as a puppet earlier. I'm just like saying all these weird things. Taking these pallets down, making sure that they cannot use them later on just in case they happen to transition from one area to another. And that shows you that this Dream Witch is really just playing exactly how they would any other match to secure at least a tie or a win. We see that CPG Sans is probably going to be eliminated. And what is left is a Mechanic with no doll and a Mercenary with 3 elbow pads. All right. See that this is going over here. Mechanic is going to get Leech. Takes that down. Pops the final cipher. Mechanic and Mercenary. Let's see how they do. And because there is a point system, we have to remember that it's still important that these survivors play and these hunters play. Because what happens here is that there is a point system. In the case of a tie, the last that I knew, they calculate the points. So CPG, just in case if they tie round 2 and 3, or if they win a round, actually they have to win and then they tie a round, It can go to the points. So every point counts. Good movement from the Dream Witch. Was able to relocate their main body in order to get that hit. Was able to get 3 people down. Excellent gameplay from the Dream Witch. We saw that route with ZQ going to that northeast corner on a group 6 layout. CPG giving it their all, didn't give up, kept trying to strive forward and was able to prevent ZQ from getting 5 points. That was really good. Good effort from CPG, as I just said. And this is some of the gameplay that we look at. And some of the little sort of tactical advantages that these characters and top tier players have with those subtle movements. Think of Dream Witch when she knew she was about to get stunned and she switches back to her main body. Little tiny things like that can add up. We watched the GR versus MRC and we talked about the blink, the ability to blink and swing correctly instead of having to pause your hunter and then blinking. That it really can set you behind those little tiny movements, that little tiny mastery of these characters can be the difference between a tie and a lose, or the difference between a tie and a win, and even some cases, the difference between a win and a lose. Now, we see that ZQ is going to ban forward and mechanic, and we see that Dream Witch is also going to get banned. And we see a Priestess, an Explorer, as well as a Seer. And we are waiting on that 4th selection, as well as waiting for ZQ to select their Hunter afterwards. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me throughout this MC and sort of casting, whatever people want to call it these days. Making sure that I provide at least some of my analysis and input in regards to what's happening. Maybe there are things that you're going to take away from this. It's always funny to read the descriptions and be like, well, Persway, you said this, but I felt like the player was doing this instead. I enjoy that so much. I learn from it. I don't want to look at life through a toilet paper roll. I learn from you all just as much as you learn from me. We're all students in this thing called life, and I appreciate spending some of your time with me today. And Explorer going to be selected. So again, Priestess, Mercenary, Explorer, Seer, and we're waiting on ZQ because Dream Witch has been banned, which was ZQ's first preference on that Ever Sleeping Town. And here we go, the selection coming in, Sculptor being utilized way more. One of the things that I saw being talked about during the winter tournament, the MCs were saying how they don't see Bloody Queen as much anymore, and among top survivors, Bloody Queen is seen more of as a tie hunter these days. More of a tie hunter. You're going to see Bloody Queen usually more towards the later rounds if Bloody Queen is used, because that's when you can ban multiple survivors, including Mechanic. Although there are some advantages to using Bloody Queen on certain maps, especially with some certain layouts, and I'm sure that we will see Bloody Queen being utilized more in the future. However, today, as of now, we are seeing a lot of that Dream Witch. We're now seeing the Sculptor, and the question is how are these two teams going to do now that it is the second round, match 1? Again, Explorer, Seer, Priestess, Mercenary against a really scary Sculptor. ZQ is one of the scariest teams on the circuit right now. It's a team that you are definitely going to hear about again. And let's see this motion and this movement. I actually agree with this route from ZQ. Some decide to go towards Wed and Broken when they spawn there, but it's a really big gamble when you do that. You go to Wed and Broken, and it's a Mercenary. Now you have to transition to the other side of the map. So this is a strategy that I agree with ZQ on. And let's see how Ming is going to do over here. You saw Ming really doing pretty good against that Dream Witch last time. So let's see how Ming can do this time. And the question is are they going to get the Sculptures in? Uses their Owl, is going to make sure they absorb a hit. Nobody has been injured as of now. Throws the pallet down, gets that boost. And we are back. My mic got disconnected. I know, for some of you, that's the best part of this entire video because you don't got to hear me talk. Yeah, I saw those YouTube comments in Koa too. Oh, man, it's like this love-hate relationship, but I love you guys. So we see Ming running one chip away. Let's see how Ming is going to be able to use this to their advantage. It's going to be a tight transition. Is he going to get chipped? He's still running. Does not have an owl. Let's see. YMM misses that hit. Let's see. Hits. Yup, gets the hit. And they are down to 4 ciphers. Not too bad of a kite from CPG. Ming was able to live long enough for one of those ciphers to go down. Now here's what the strategy is. Remember, this is the first match of round 2. So CPG has to give it their all. They don't know how many of the MRC survivors are going to be able to escape, if any at all. So the question is, what are they going to do? Are they going to go in for that rescue? And you can see Sculptor. I always do that with the sculpture and sculptor thing. I swear I'm gonna do like a YouTube giveaway on the day that the week that I can MC and not mess that up. So then the whole community is rooting for me. Actually, that might not be a good thing, because then the community gonna be yelling at me every time I mess up Sculptor with sculptures. There's got to be a different way that I can do this. Any feedback I'll appreciate. YMM really focusing on the seer here. Gets that hit. And they are down to 3 ciphers. We can see I do not believe that the blink has been utilized as of now. And so they are down to 2 ciphers. Remember, as we previously said, CPG, they have to escape with as many survivors as possible. That's one of the advantages of going second in these matches, is that you know exactly what you need in order to win the round. They are down to 1 cipher. 1 person has been eliminated. And let's see what sort of strategy. For those who have not watched, if you watched the GR match with their Sculptor, I think they were the survivors. In the previous video to this one, it was a really, really intense Sculptor match. Very, very intense Sculptor match on Red Church. So let's see what ZQ is going to be able to do. Using this ability to really provide vision and the ability to be able to see around them. So let's see. Still trying to kind of pick away over there. And now this is going, we're going to see cipher has been popped. Most likely from the Explorer. This is one of the reasons why a lot of these teams are preferring Explorer, because you can do things like that where you can take that last cipher out, especially against somebody like Sculptor that has so much vision, so much map pressure. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing this MCing in like 1 take, all action-packed, whereas if I was actually at an event, you get downtime, you have the ability to go to the bathroom and drink water. With these videos, I don't have that ability. I really genuinely try to do it all in 1 take. So there may be some moments where I have low energy, and there's not much I can do about that. You know, one of the things I've been trying to work on, me personally, is trying to be calm. Like, hold on, let me try it right now. We see ZQ really being patient here. Being very, very patient. I don't know. It doesn't always work for me. I'm going to try to work on it. You know, like those announcers do in golf. Let's see where CPG Sons is. Are they going in for that? Do they have? I do not believe that this. Yeah, okay. So this Sculptor does not have detention. A lot of top sculptors do not choose detention. So that's why they're being a little ballsy with this. Good moves from CPG trying to do that, making sure that they get as many points as they can. Both of them are going to transfer out, knowing that Blink was utilized and that they don't have the ability to teleport. And that's actually really good communication from CPG. And we'll see if Sculptor is able to pick one of them off. This is going to be really intense. Do they have the ability to pick off CPG Sans? Nope. They were able to escape. That was really, really good communication from CPG. They realized, hey, we know that this character can't choose teleport because of the blink that was used. So let's go in and see if we can pull off a last-ditch rescue. Very, very ballsy. Now we have a tie. So this was a tie between CPG and ZQ. So that now means that CPG's Hunter has to at least tie the match. If they tie the match, it will go to a third round, and that's why CPG tried so hard in the first round to get one of their survivors out, because all of the points matter. However, if CPG does not have the ability to tie and 3 survivors escape, that now means that today is over between CPG and ZQ. ZQ is up 1-0 in terms of the rounds, and it is now tied here. So a lot of this is going to come on the CPG's Hunter. And remember, ZQ, some of the best survivors out there. Very scary clan for anyone to go against. They are very dominant, and we're going to see how CPG can overcome these survivors and their communication as well. And we see again a forward and a mechanic band, as well as a Dream Witch band. This is replicating one another. Both teams have similar styles, similar compositions, similar hunter selections. And the question is who is you going to use? We saw you use that Dream Witch on that Ever Sleeping Town, and the Priestess did a really good job at being able to counter that Dream Witch. So what does you have in store for them now? And I'm not talking about any of these survivors until I know that they're fully selected in. And again, thank you all for joining with me and being part of this experience of trying to make sure we get some of this competitive gameplay more onto our server in regards to providing that feedback and input and strategy and commentary, so we can all learn and grow and also compare and contrast some of our own styles. And yep, we're going to see a seer, a priestess, a mercenary, as well as a first officer, and we will most likely see Sculptor being chosen. First officer is usually preferred as a means of wasting time, avoiding hits, and not feeding a Sculptor, because remember, when Sculptor receives max presence, she is very, very scary, especially good Sculptors who can multitask using that vision ability, using the ability of the sculptures across the map, as well as being able to shut down early game kites. She's an all-around strong, versatile character. However, after all that being said, we go with the bonbon. So when I tell you that I really watched this live, I watched it, well, oh wait, all right, wait, are we going back to Sculptor? Hold on, did I embarrass myself or did I not? I don't know. Either way, I told you all that I don't edit this. I genuinely try to do this in one take. I like how I'm like, I'm not going to say anything about the character selection until it's selected in. I did a good job with the survivors, but I didn't do a good job with the hunter. And we're going to take a look at the stage as well. Something you guys have been familiar with, and I like their logos, and it's really professional. It has a really, really sleek design. Identity 5 NetEase, they really invested a lot into that sort of, I call it a battle stage, but I don't know if that's like kind of corny. I don't know. You guys can tell me if that's corny, but I feel like it's a battle stage. All right, and we'll go over this one more time. This is a seer, a mercenary, and all the other ones. Okay, it got shut off on me. First officer and priestess against a sculptor. And let's see where this movement's going to happen. We see a lot of survivors transitioning out, going in. Yep, taking that pallet down. By the way, so a lot of survivors, you should throw that pallet down. Throwing that pallet down, when somebody hops the window, they can hop the pallet as well and get a boost. That is why that pallet got thrown down. And you can see that you really didn't want to have to deal with that, so you decided to take that out. Now let's see what Iron is going to do over here. This should be the seer. Uses the owl. Swings attack, basic attack. Make sure the owl is out. Still has full health. We can see that the cipher is approximately 45% for the priestess. 49%. I feel like it was 45, but then it got 49 by the time I was done with that. All right, fine. I'll just admit I was wrong. Whatever. We see the circling of this seer. He's probably going to absorb a hit. Yep, he's going to get that hit and going to relocate. Now, Seer needs to be careful because if they decide to go towards Graveyard, you're running into ZQAK. And so Seer, let's see where they're going to move to. Oh, never mind. That's right. Again, we're seeing that great communication, that great teamwork between that Priestess and Seer. Really always knowing where those portals are going to be. Beautiful blink, gets the hit. You could see that Seer tried to vault that window in order to prevent it, but one cipher is down, and so that's looking favorable for ZQ, and it's going to come down to how the rest of the survivors are going to be able to catch up with the decoding, as well as perhaps some fancy rescuing, and maybe possibly shutting down usability to really have that map pressure, map control. Again, we don't see max presence on there, so that might be a little bit more difficult for you, but I would never underestimate this Hunter. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to see if they can chip away at AK at all. Now, going after AK now means that the other survivors are most likely going to continue decoding. However, by pushing them away, they're only going to be able to pull off maybe one rescue. They may not even rescue and only continue decoding. Again, remember that that's a very popular strategy, is understanding, so to speak, when to cut your losses. I know that's a bad way of saying it, but it's the most accurate way of saying it. When somebody goes down a little bit quicker than what you would want. Remember, ZQ, they really just need to tie this in order to tie the overall round and possibly force it to a third. So what ZQ is going to do is they're going to continue decoding. They're at the 3 ciphers. Let's see what ZQ is going to continue doing. You see that Priestess having that portal set up really helps her out a lot. Having that portal set up, and we do now have 1 survivor eliminated. The question is, will ZQ have the ability to have 3 survivors escape in order to win the second round and conclude today's event? Or will CPG be able to at least tie it to force a round 3 or eliminate another 2, win this round, and still force it to a third? Remember, if this goes to a third round, that's a lot of pressure on CPG. It's a lot of pressure. If they only tie it here, they have to win round 3. Now let's see what ZQAK is going to do. He or she is going to transition out. They are at 3 ciphers still. You're seeing this sort of edge of the map sort of gameplay, forcing this character in the corner of the map, which opens up the rest of the map for everybody else. And now this survivor is going to be communicating, hey, we are engaging. We are engaging. Get those ciphers down because they're not multitasking. And right there, they are 1 chip away. AK is 1 chip away from being knocked down. And this may be very difficult because, again, we're going to see some first officer gameplay. First officer did not use that second pocket watch, so first officer still has 1 pocket watch readily available, and they are down to 1 cipher. That 1 cipher is primed, and that is very favorable for the first officer, saving the pocket watch for the rescue and for the ability to escape the match that was purposely done. And let's see how that's going to work. CPG, though, remember, very scary. Hits the mercenary. They're going to wait for a pop, and it's going to depend on if it's a basic attack or not. So right here, CPG really needs to make sure they use the sculptures, does not use the sculptures, uses the basic attack, still has blink as their trait, and now ZQ pops that cipher, is going to try to provide pressure on Long to prevent one of these gates from being used. Hits Long again. Long is going to go down. Now we see MK over here trying to get this cipher, or rather exit gate pop. Remember, Long is now down. This may go to a round 3, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. Is MK does get this down. Long is probably going to be picked up. Let's see. Remember, a lot of top tier sculptors, they do not use detention. And so let's see where ZQ Long, they're going to really push this survivor out because of Tide Turner. The question is that that's not, well, it's not really a question, but that's not technically far enough. If somebody has Tide Turner, they're able to get there, but it doesn't matter. Was able to shut them out for the tie, Game 2, second half. And that is now a draw. Ladies and gentlemen, excellent job from the survivor. Excellent job from CPGU. And this is going to a third round. And this is going to be very important because remember that CPG was able to get one survivor out. So really what I mean by one survivor is in the first round when they were survivors. So this is going to be action-packed. CPG really needs to go for a win here. Has to win. They have to win in order to technically tie it. And if they want to win the overall series, I believe they have to eliminate 4 survivors because in the first round, they eliminated 3. The ZQ. So we're going to see how this is going to go, how this is going to unfold. Again, if CPG wins this, if they win with 3 survivors eliminated, I'm not really quite sure what's going to happen because ZQ won that first round. Anyways, I'm kind of talking myself to death. And we have the third round banned, and we are going to see who is going to be banned. We see that Bonbon has been banned, and I'm not going to lie. That kind of looks like an Axe Boy. I actually don't know what that logo is. we see Mechanic's been banned. We see this here's been banned. And we see that Mercenary has been banned. Is that an Axe Boy? I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about it because I don't know what it is. I can't tell by that logo. See, I'm learning too, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you for joining with me. And this is going to be ZQ Ken. Ken, also known as one of the best Bonbon players in the entire world, which is why most likely Bonbon, and I think that maybe an Axe Boy is banned. Ken is a specialty hunter. He's a specialist. And so we're going to see who they're going to select. We see that Priestess, Forward, Explorer, and Gravekeeper has been selected. And we see that Ken is also going to choose Sculptor. You know, that's one of the interesting things. The longer you watch these videos, the more you're with me on this journey, the more familiar we're going to be with a lot of these players and their preferences, which will make sense as to why survivors are banning certain hunters. Remember that teams also have 2 hunters, 2 players, and they are given forewarning before a hunter substitution is made between players. That gives survivors the ability to ban those hunters. That's a rule that I kind of disagree with, believe it or not. I think that the rules would be better if the survivors chose a hunter ban, their hunter bans, and then the enemy team can choose which person goes out there. I think we'd see a lot more specialty, a lot more diverse hunters in top competitive gameplay. You'd have that one feaster main that's better than everybody else. You would have that, that Bonbon and that Axe Boy. You'd have the Mad Eyes, right? But a lot of Mad Eyes players, they only play one character a lot to really master them. And when you know which hunter goes out, you can ban the Mad Eyes. I genuinely think that you should change that rule to increase the diversity of top-tier gameplay in this competition. Tell me what you think about that in the comments of this YouTube video. Now, let's see what Ken is able to do in this area. We see a lot of these survivors transitioning out. And now, let's see if Explorer has the ability to hide in this spot. Is Ken going to be able to find this Explorer? It looks like he's predicting that Explorer is around this area. Whenever they pan the camera like that downward, it means they are looking in the grass. They are looking for Explorer. And this is why Explorer is considered very, very dangerous, a very deadly survivor to go against, especially after all of the adjustments. And now it's going to force Ken to move on from the Explorer and now going to go after. Wow, hits Ming both times and is now a one-shot. However, remember that this person Ken does not have blink. But you know what Ken is saying? That's going to be no problem. Now, let's see how Gravekeeper is able to transition up here. We're going to see if Sculptor hits them again, 1 chip away. That's 3 wall hits. Are they going to be able to prevent Ming from... Nope. Ming was able to vault that. And we're going to see where these motions are now. Forward goes whizzing by. Does not get the stun off. It really seems like Ming was relying on that stun to connect. And I don't believe that Ken would have been able to predict that. That was an excellent attempt from CPG. Although it didn't play in the way that they probably wanted it to, you could see the intent, you could see the communication, you could see the intent of the Gravekeeper trying to possibly transition towards that roller coaster, and that would have been a game changer if Forward was able to hit that excellent shot, excellent chance by CPG. Let's see what Sculptor is going to do now. We have two people going in for a rescue, and this is going to be a very difficult position for CPG because remember, CPG, they are not decoding right now. That's almost a two-person rescue, or was a two-person rescue. Gravekeeper is going to go down again. Hits the forward, chips the forward. So Forward and Explorer have both been chipped once. They did a pretty good job on that rescue, though, not absorbing a regular attack. Gravekeeper going to go in. No, drops the Gravekeeper, was probably expecting a stun from the Forward. Here's the Forward. That's exactly what the Sculptor was trying to predict beforehand. Now Gravekeeper is going to go and dig down. Forward's going to try to body block. And we see Sculptor trying to hit that Gravekeeper with their ability. And gets the Gravekeeper off and follows up with the regular attack. Excellent gameplay from Ken, known as one of the best Bonbon players in showing people, yeah, keep banning my Bonbon. I'm going to show you my Sculptor. Now let's see how CPG can overcome this situation. CPG, they're down to 2 ciphers. Remember that they do have an Explorer on their team, which can really take those ciphers out really quickly, depending on what they have. However, we're going to see it. Oh, pushes them away. Oh, hits him right before he hits the portal. I didn't even see that. That's remarkable. Remarkable gameplay from ZQ Ken with those sculptures, taking down Gravekeeper from that dig state or Doug state. That's weird to say, that Doug state. And also taking the Explorer down before reaching that global portal because, wow, that's just excellent. That would have been really difficult on Ken if that move was able to pull off. You could see that CPG has the teamwork. They have it. They have a lot of strategies that they're trying to show right now. But ZQ Ken is really just shutting a lot of these strategies down and showing why Ken is such a dangerous hunter in the Chinese community or the Chinese server. Let's see what happens now. Forward, I believe, has that accelerated decoding, approximately 30%. That's not going to be enough. They're going to have to somehow try to pull off a rescue and body block on top of that to make sure that the Explorer doesn't go down. And that's going to be very difficult for the Priestess. You see that the Priestess is being pushed back. Explorer not going to have enough time for any sort of rescue. And now we see the teleport to really push back on that one cipher that they've been working on. That was a really good move. And so the idea behind that is Ken is saying, you know what, I don't even need to worry about this Priestess. I know that they have dedicated all of their time to this one last cipher. Question is did Explorer drop any of those pages for the Priestess to pick up? It doesn't look like it, or at least Priestess hasn't used them, or at least used one, so most likely does not have that. I'm actually not sure if there's an indicator. If there's an indicator, if somebody picks up an Explorer page, please let me know in the comments below so I'm better prepared in the future. Isn't this great? We're all learning together. I've learned how to do this thing better. We're all learning how to play the game better. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me through this opportunity of being able to provide English commentary. Beautiful chips against that Priestess. I call them chips. It's just easy to refer to it as that because you're chip shotting them. You're chipping away their health. All right, let's see what this Priestess is able to do. We're going to move away from where the dungeon area is. My mic got disconnected again. I'm sorry about that. Let's see how they use. Oh, and gets him down with the last Sculpture. That's what I'm trying to learn how to do. Just slow that word down. Sculptor and Sculpture. Sculptor. Sure. And we see that ZQ able to escape with 5 people. Now, CPG is going to be put in a very awkward spot because they have to get all 5 out. Now, I'm unfamiliar with the official tournament rules as of now. This is something that I'm going to have to contact NetEase about. The question is does CPG have the ability to come back if they tie? So if CPG eliminates 5 people and it's a second tie, wouldn't that technically mean that ZQ wins because it's a best out of 3 and ZQ won? So I don't know if the rules are that you have to win 2 out of the 3 or if it's just the best out of 3. And it's something that I'm going to receive a little bit of clarification on in the future. However, I really need to catch up with these videos and I don't want to act or sound like I'm perfect. And again, thanks for being part of my growth as a person and as a caster. Now let's move on. That's enough emotions for now. We see that this is going to be CPGU as the hunter, ZQ survivors, some of the best survivors, the most dominant, formidable opponents. They have decided to ban Dream Witch and Sculptor. And we see 3 bans, Mechanic, Seer, and Forward. I have to bring the iPad right up to my face. I don't know if I'm losing vision or something there. I'm like, who are those people? And I'm not doing that. I'm not talking about the survivors until they're fully selected. I want to talk about Acrobat right now so bad. You know what? Heck, we're going to talk about it. Acrobat really good on Moonlit River, so that'd be really cool to see Acrobat. But we'll have to wait and see for that selection. Whew, hopefully you guys are learning a lot, just like I'm learning a lot. Currently waiting on some of these survivors to choose their characters. That's what we're waiting on with the hunter as well with CPGU. Remember, the map is going to be Moonlit River. I decided to keep these scenes in. I know we talked about this before, but I feel like waiting for the character selection is a fun process. Let me know if you guys want that to kind of stay in here, or if you just want me to cut right before the match so we can see. But then if I do that, then we can't see who's been banned. So I feel like not knowing which characters are banned and not knowing which characters have been banned, I can leave it at that. It takes away a lot of the opportunity to learn what these strategies are. So I think I'm actually going to keep this in. I'm like, hey, I want your feedback. And I'm like, I think I'm going to keep this one in. And we see the 4 characters selected. Coordinator, Mercenary. We have a Priestess as well as a Grave Keeper. And Bloody Queen being selected on Moonlit River. The very interesting thing about Bloody Queen being selected for Moonlit River is the fact that some spawns are really strong for her. Very, very strong for her. More strong than others. And that's maybe something that I can create a video on at a later date. We're going to see if that's going to play in Bloody Queen's favor. And we are going to get started very, very soon. How about we speed this up a little bit? This was the page that I was talking about, instead of going through that whole process. But I think I'm just going to keep that. So anyways, a coordinator mercenary combination is nothing that's too unfamiliar. We used to see this once in a while as well with Forward in Koa 2. We actually saw NAEU use Coordinator on Moonlit River in the Koa 2 tournament over in Shanghai, China. All right, let's see how Yu does. Must try to get a victory here. Anything less than a 4 survivor elimination is not good enough. So let's see what you can do. Takes this down. We can see the hiding over here. Probably going to peek around and then try to transition out. Yep, we see that crouching, so there's no blood trail marks. See a lot more of this sort of strategy in Koa 3 and soon to be Koa 4 than what we did in Koa 2. We saw some hiding in Koa 2, but now let's see what AK can do. This is the coordinator. So let's see how good this mirror is. She's going to use that gun in order to prevent Bloody Queen from getting any persona points and also forcing Bloody Queen to not have her ability to catch up. Now, the question is there a portal? There is a portal. And again, that excellent game sense between the priestess of ZQ's priestess is absolutely amazing. And ZQ as survivors have amazing coordination. Just their ability to constantly know where the portals are consistently every single time is just amazing. And that is very difficult for any hunter to try to overcome. And let's see how Yu is able to try to catch up to this coordinator in a very, very difficult spot. Is there some sort of mirror trick that she's going to be able to pull off? Now let's see where AK did try to transition out, did not work against this Bloody Queen. Uses another portal in order to transfer out. ZQ has absolutely amazing communication. That is just really, really good. Here comes the blink and gets the hit. And this is looking decent for CPGU in the sense that it's at least on one of the ciphers that was being worked on by the priestess. However, it's a very difficult position for CPGU to be in because, again, they need 4 people eliminated, and they are already down to 3 ciphers. Let's see what she's going to use. These survivors may just completely back off and just really focus on the decoding instead, but because they are at that 3 ciphers. But I don't think that would make too much sense because here's what's probably going to happen. I think Long is going to try to go in for a rescue and then continue decoding. And so really, AK needs to leave this area, and that's exactly what AK is going to try to do. Leave the area, and then we're going to most likely see the other survivor take over, and I think the Bloody Queen is going to expect that. Yep, Long is going to move away, expecting a mirror, and then Long is probably going to go back to that cipher, and AK did a really good job at just transferring out, going to the corner of the map, because if you decided to force a mirror on Long, then it would have gave the priestess a little bit more time to heal if you decided to focus on that mercenary. Now, mercenary knows, can I go in for an additional rescue? Can I go in for that rescue and somebody transitioning in towards the cipher, such as MK? Once MK is done with that cipher, can they go into the double story? I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what Long is going to do. Long is waiting, probably waiting until the last second. And we see that Gravekeeper is going to pop their cipher. We see that Priestess is going to pop theirs as well. They're going to be down to 1 cipher. Now the question is, can they get... Yes, they can. That's right. They had the global portal there from the Priestess. Priestess coming in clutch yet again. Are they going to be able to... Yep, so they're going to heal stall. They're going to pick up ZQ Long. And Priestess had to catch up to that decode, and that almost got pulled off by ZQ, but Mercenary knew, I cannot afford to get terror shocked, and I cannot afford to get hit twice while heel stalling, or I'm going to go down as well. We see that Bloody Queen does have detention. We can tell when the eyes are red, her eyes are red, so she does have detention, and that was a really good move from ZQ Long, knowing when to back off. The Priestess is just really good at communicating with their teammates, especially with the portals and that global. I didn't even see that the global portal was up there. Beautiful blink to get that mercenary down. However, 1 survivor did escape. That means that ZQ is going to be your winner, regardless of whether Gravekeeper escapes or not. And obviously, Gravekeeper does. Good gameplay from both of these teams. Wow. Remember, I do these videos in pretty much 1 take, so it's a lot. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot, but I'm practicing. ZQ is showing you, ladies and gentlemen, as well as me, why their survivors are top notch. You have to ask yourself, are they eventually going to start banning ZQ's Priestess to just get rid of it? Just get rid of that strategy. That ZQ's Priestess is unbelievable. Reminds me a little bit of my legs Priestess as well from before you. We're seeing some great gameplay from all of these competitors. Thank you very much for joining with me, and have a good day.
baby, listen to me speak, yeah. No matter what, just let it go.
Pop, Perswayable. What's going on, boo-boos? All right, so we are still in week 5, day 3. We've had some exciting gameplay, and now we are going to finish this off with Dow 5 versus GG. I'm very excited for this, very excited to at least give some sort of English commentary over this footage, and as well as my ability to do the best that I can to take some of this footage and provide it towards the NAEU server, and to an extent as well as the Southeast Asia server. So again, thank you for joining with me. I will do the best that I can for this gameplay, and I can't wait for you to see these two teams. And if there are weeks that I'm a little bit too busy and do not have the time to provide commentary, then what I will still try to do to my best ability is still cut up all of the gameplay and put it in a video. And those videos will actually be even more fast-paced than the videos that I provide commentary on. I know some of you are like, well, then just stop providing commentary, but you're stuck with me. Sorry about that. So I'll try to make this a consistent thing, because I really want people to see other top-tier gameplay, looking at the meta, the tournaments. Everyone's asking me, will you coach me for KOA 4? Answer is most likely not. Too busy. I may also MC for that. And so the best way for me to coach is to coach everybody. And even if you're not the biggest tournament player, you can also learn some of these strategies. Remember, tournament gameplay differs a lot from legendary rank mode, especially with strategies and how we use characters. Remember, a lot of these teams, they go against each other. They're familiar with each other. They know each other's hunters. They know each other's survivors. So that comes in play when it comes in turn with who they ban and who they select. And that's why sometimes we're seeing first officer being used, especially if they're going against a sculptor. So just kind of bear that in mind. We see now that Duo 5 will be hunter first. We see GG, they will be survivors. And we see as well that forward has been banned. You can still see that forward and mechanic as of now. They're really being banned a lot, significantly so in the majority of the matches that I have seen so far. And of course, there are times where I'm seeing Priestess ban, but we'll see how that's going to work out in this favor. And I think that the character selection may have been locked in, and if that is the case, no, see, that's what I mean right there. We're doing this again. So I'm going to hold off on that. And again, thank you everybody for joining me for this event and for these the upcoming series. So I believe that it gets really heavy Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is typically, or at least next week, or this week that's uploaded on YouTube, by the way. That's when all of the teams play each other again. And then there's like 3 teams per day, so it's a lot for me to cover. So I might not be able to come out with it as fast as possible, but a lot of that video, there's like 6-7 hours of video per day, and I just kind of go in there and I cut up this gameplay, and I'm pretty sure in the future I'll make it even faster. How about we talk about the selections? We see Seer, Mercenary, Barmaid, as well as Priestess against DX's Sculptor. And the question is, which one is going to come out victorious in round 1, match 1, to set the tone for the rest of the day? And of course, as always, I like to show the stage within the first time, and there's somebody pointing at me. That's quite aggressive. It's a little aggressive. Like, why are you pointing at me? And let's see how this is going to be utilized. The question is, will they have the ability to really communicate using those portals like we have seen ZQ in the past? And by in the past, I mean, I literally just got done doing that video. Here we go, DX on the move, ever sleeping town. Let's see which survivor they're going to engage with first. We're going to see that movement away from the middle, and we're going to see Sculptor. Will they push this northeast corner? There's 2 survivors over here. You have your Barmaid trying to transition out. We see ZB. This is the Mercenary. Let's see what else we have. See what barmaid? Yes, that is barmaid. Sorry, I was just confused because I see that I think the mercenary had 4 elbow pads. I was just thrown off by that, that's all. Let's see what DX. Moving around. Barmaid circle in this area. Decides to take one of her drinks, most likely. Really using this ability to their advantage. Pops this over. Let's see how she's using this spot. It's going to keep moving around this house. And is she going to hop this window again? Hops out. She might be able to get a hit. Oh, so, yep, does get the hit. Does get the hit. Now we have the owl on the barmaid. Will barmaid have enough time to heal up? Does heal up. This is what can make barmaid a very scary character. Chips barmaid once. See, circling around this area. Barmaid really using chips again. Now we should remember Sculptor does have teleport, does not have blink. So must really rely on this area to use these sculptures to get a hit or follow up with the basic attack. Barmaid down. However, 4 ciphers remain. 1 got popped. 1 is approximately about 80% of the way done with the priestess and was not able to hit the shadow there of the seer. So good movement from that seer. Priestess really trying to take that cipher down. Good kite from GG with their barmaid. And we see an aggressive teleport away from the seer. Very interesting move. I was not expecting that. So DX has hit the seer once and is now going to transition out from the barmaid. Now barmaid has been rescued. Seer avoiding all of those sculptures as of now. Moving in this area towards the pallet. Let's see how they do. Chips them once. Follows up with an attack. Seer is now down. They are at 3 ciphers. However, another cipher is about to be finished. They are at 2 ciphers now. Interesting move from DX to really be able to teleport. However, was able to push that seer off. And that seer did a really, really good job at relocating away from any of the ciphers that were being worked on. So the question is what is the progress on that? Barmaid still at half health. Let's see what strategy they're going to do. Barmaid has been fully healed, is now doing their little mixing thing. You can see, is DX going to be able to chip away? We see Priestess is at 75% health. No one's going in for the rescue as of now. Barmaid got shut down. I do not know if Mercenary has made a move. Yep, ZB is going to try to make a move as of now. Let's see how ZB is going to be able to get this rescue in just in time. They have 1 rescue on that character. If that character is cheered again, they will be eliminated. Let's see if Mercenary, yep. So let's see. Uses their ability to see exactly where the seer is. That's what makes it very difficult to try to sneak away from a sculptor like that. It's a very difficult thing against these advanced sculptors who know how to use their second ability to really utilize it for that vision. We see another teleport. Very, very aggressive gameplay from DX. Let's see if we're able to hit. I think that may have connected for 1. We see Barmaid still trying to run away. Chips him again. Chips the barmaid again. Throws this pallet down. Teleport not readily available for another 75 seconds. Takes both pallets down so they don't have to worry about it again. And moves on. Let's see what they're going to do. DX able to chip again. There is not a single survivor with full health as of now. What is Duo 5's DX going to do? You see the global portal being activated. Are they going to try to... Yeah, let's see what they do. Priestess is going to go in. Barmaid is still going to run away. Barmaid did a good choice not going through the portal because DX would have been able to hit their residual image. We see Mercenary chipped again. Mercenary now at 50% health. Let's see how these sculpts... Still doing it. For those, I've been confusing Sculptor with sculptures. It's a really difficult thing. I got to look up the official We got to come up with something different. I said that last round. Mercenary, half health. Barmaid, half health. 25% health for both the Seer and the Priestess. However, we see that Barmaid has been fully healed. DX doing the best they can to really slow this game down. You're seeing that map pressure. You're seeing the map pressure with DX. Do they have a late game strategy up their sleeve? Remember that a lot of these ciphers are right next to each other. Is able to hit the Mercenary again and chip the Mercenary. Mercenary is now at 75% health. Hits the Mercenary a final time. Gets him down. Picks him up. And now Duo 5 needs to pick the correct rocket chair to put this Mercenary down to really slow down that decoding even further. We'll have to see. I don't know if this Hunter has trump card and has the ability to switch to abnormal if feeling pressured enough. However, it seems like these survivors did a decent job at spreading it out, so abnormal might not be a good idea, especially because you'd get rid of your teleport. Hits them again. Mercenary is now... Oh, no, that's now Barmaid's going to pick them up just in case there was a Cypher pop. There is no Cypher pop, and we're going to see Sculptor putting this character down in the basement. We see one Cypher is at 87%, and the question is Barmaid, are they going to be able to rescue Barmaid? They're pushing both of these survivors out. Priestess is not a survivor that's going to go in for the rescue, to my knowledge. And let's see where... Oh, yep, so Priestess was trying to. Hits him once, chips him away. DX is doing a really great job. Really great job at slowing this game down. Hits him, expect a Cypher pop. Gets a Cypher pop. All 4 survivors. Somebody got the rescue at some point. I was trying to focus on that. What, did Priestess get that rescue? I didn't even see it. Either way, all 4 survivors are up. GG doing an excellent job. Look at this tight cutting. Are they going to... Yep, predicts that the Sculptor was going to swing there. Hits him right there. Gets the stun while being moved by a pillar. That was really... We should call it a pillar. I know it's not a pillar, but that would be easier for me, but whatever. While being moved by the Sculptures. The question is, how many are them going to get out? Because this person does have teleport. It's looking like 3 of them are going to be able to escape. Are they going to be able to hit one of them right before? Oh, doesn't have detention. That's right, does not have detention. 3 people are going to escape, and they're going to waste as much time as they possibly can, because the question is will Barmaid be able to get up, and will Barmaid be able to somehow escape? It's looking very difficult for that to happen, especially the placement. You can see that DX purposely put this character in the corner because they don't have much to work with. Remember, DX took a lot of these pallets down earlier, but is Barmaid going to be able to sneak past? You can see the trail marks. Oh, this is going to be very close. Are they going to have the ability to get there? They're trying to move. They've been chipped once. Are they going to be able to get there? He's got to get it really quick. Oh, and hits him! Prevents it! Oh, wow! Prevents the 4 survivor escape. Really, really aggressive gameplay from Duo 5, Dow 5, from DX, teleporting all around the map. I haven't seen that strategy in a very long time. Good gameplay from both. GG. Excellent gameplay and collaboration, coordination among all of the survivors to look at a really complicated situation. Not only get the rescue, but as well as get the last Cypher pop. That was amazing. They pulled off the rescue, and I'm sure some of you realized it. You're probably like, hey, caster guy, you going to say anything about that? It like completely went over my head. I was just getting so involved in everything. You ever get like that tunnel vision? You get so involved in something, and then you're like, your whole surroundings are just completely irrelevant. But I don't have that excuse because I got so involved in the gameplay that I missed some of the gameplay. Whew. All right, so we see now that GG's Hunter has to try to get at least 3 person eliminated to at least tie round 1. And PPXE is a very, very good Hunter. We're going to see which survivors are selected. We see, as of now, forward Mercenary. We see Seer, and we see Priestess. A common strategy, especially since the mat will be ever sleep in town. And the question is who are they going to select in round one as we all grow more and more familiar with these players, with their preferences. Again, this is week 5, day 3. That's what we're starting off with in regards to covering the content on my channel as a means of bringing this gameplay content to all of you and to help everybody learn from some of these other players as well as enjoying just top competitive gameplay. I love watching Identity 5 gameplay. I love watching it. I love analyzing it. I love predicting things. And I've enjoyed it for a very, very long time now. So we can see this gameplay. It looks like, not this gameplay, the poster. It's like a clutch line where you don't know what to say. So you just say, oh yeah, we see this gameplay. It's like, yeah, it's on the screen, but we don't. And Bon was selected. All right. So we're going to fast forward this a little bit to get to the next match. And let's begin the match eventually. There we go. And we have a Bon player. As we said, this is going to be GG's Hunter. It has to eliminate at least 3 survivors in order to tie this round, 4 survivors in order to get the win of round number 1 of a 3-round series. And let's see how these characters do. You can see that PPXia really waiting for those bombs to accumulate. That's a common strategy among Bon players. They don't start throwing their bombs immediately underway. What they do is they try to let them stockpile a little bit up and then they start using them. And that is why some magicians decide to start illusioning right away against a Bon player. You start throwing those bombs down too fast, it's a common strategy for a magician player to throw to use your illusion right away because you know that the Bon is wasting all of their bombs. But then again, what another Bon strategy is to counter that is they only throw 1 bomb down in order to see if the illusion will be utilized early, so there's only 1 more to deal with. Yeah, side point. That's completely irrelevant to the gameplay on the screen right now. We see that the mercenary running away. Are they going to be able to get this? You can see he is trying to relocate. He's been chipped 3 times. He may go down right here. He's able to avoid that. Nope, he did get hit. He did get hit. He is now down with 5 ciphers remaining. This is very, very good for GG PPXia. Very good. Let's see how this Bon is going to relocate this to the rocket chair over here instead of some of the other ones. And remember, one of these common themes, does anyone even go in for the rescue at this point? This is looking pretty good for PPXia that needs to get 3 survivors for that tie. Also has wanted order, has vision. Let's see where ZYJ teleports in. Gets the stun. Understood he was teleporting in and still gets the stun. Let's see. Uses the football to run away, making sure that he doesn't get hit, but he's going to absorb a regular hit. And we see that XM from before has been able to get a little bit of distance. Is this going to work in PPXia's favor? Remember, using that teleport. Interesting choice to go after this forward. Look at those controls. Beautiful controls. Hops down. Bon looking around. Oh, this is very unfortunate for the forward. He has to get that boost. He gets the boost. He still has a little football left. And they are at 3 ciphers. Gets the owl. Beautiful owl. Still up. And is only 1 chip shot away, however. And that's going to conclude that right there. ZYJ is going to go down. First time going down. 3 ciphers still remain. You know, that's such an interesting strategy to leave the survivor that you had on the rocket chair. But I'm sure PPXia has a plan and says, hey, guy who's MCing, I got this. Leave the hunter work to me, and you go back to commentating. So we're going to see what PPXia can do for the remainder of the match in order to really try to get 3 survivors down in order to tie this round. We see that WW is trying to conceal where they are. It's a pretty decent hiding spot for that priestess. And are they going to be able to get the rescue in before this character is eliminated? This is a very important part. Priestess has the ability to wait until the last second because there is a portal that can be placed that immediately brings you to the forward. But it seems like Priestess is not going to utilize it. She's going to run away. One survivor has been eliminated. Remember, trying to rescue against a really good Bonbon is just super difficult. We all know it. We've all been there before. And they are down to 2 ciphers. Remember, this Bonbon must get 2 survivors down. And he's already chaired 1 survivor previously. Going after XM currently right now, and that was the mercenary. Let's see. He's able to hit them. Good. Mercenary is at 25% health. 1 chip shot away from going down. He's already been chaired once. Good prediction of the bombs. Oh, imagine if that hit that Bonbon. All right, let's see what's happening next. Mercenary still over here waiting. Bonbon has teleport available. Is more concerned about the cipher rush. Throws these down. Hits the priestess. Is going to relocate over here. 50% decoding from the seer. And his Bonbon is paying close attention to it. More concerned about these ciphers. Knows that this cipher in the middle here has been worked on. So let's see what WW is going to do. Relocate to the cipher over there. Has that portal that can use to their advantage. PPXE, it takes down that pallet. Doesn't want to have to worry about it later. Don't blame him. Takes the portal down. Doesn't go through it. Bonbon knows I don't want to relocate from this area. There's a lot of ciphers around me. I have vision on a lot of these ciphers. And we see some healing being done. The only character who has full health as of right now is the seer. And they're going to separate. And hopefully Priestess has time to take down that 1 cipher. But even if Priestess takes that cipher down, a lot of these other ciphers are really close to one another. But they are down to 1 cipher. They are down to 1 cipher. They're a little stretched out. That middle is done pretty good too. I don't know how much that middle is at, but you can see the priestess kind of circling it like a shark after a hungry fish. And let's see. You're seeing a lot of this control over here. Really worried about a lot of these areas. You know, the PPXE says, you know what? I have time on my hands, and I'm going to continue trying to chip some of you away. XM over there still decoding the other one. So with this layout, you're seeing these survivors really kind of take a lot of Bonbon's time up, allowing the mercenary to decode. However, mercenary isn't really, well known for their decoding speed. So let's see what Bonbon's going to do. It looks like he's going to commit. Is he going to be able to take the seer down? Remember, mercenary is decoding. And remember as well, priestess is not going to double up. They're not going to double up on the same cipher. Because if they do, then that's going to spell for disaster. They have to make sure that this is spread out as much as it can. Unless this Bonbon commits to another side of the map, these 2 survivors cannot decode at the same time. We see the mercenary still decoding in the meantime. Priestess transitioning out. Bonbon's going to go back towards that mercenary because 2 survivors have been pushed out from the 3 ciphers. It's like a chess match where Bonbon is slowly pushing all of them away. And you can see complete dominance, complete control over these 3 ciphers. And they're chipped at 25%. You see WW and 22 still on this side. Bonbon still going to focus on this, forcing that mercenary not being able to take the cipher down. This one's approximately 65%, give or take. He keeps taking these portals down, wasting the priestess's portals, but she regenerates them. Remember the good old days where there used to be a cap? Get that controversial comment in there. The good old days where you could only put 10 portals down in a game. chipping away at this mercenary. Chipping away at the mercenary, getting this mercenary down, was able to really kind of lure this survivor in, knows that he probably has enough time to get this mercenary on a rocket chair. And to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, oh, they get the cipher pop. They get the cipher pop. All ciphers have been popped. Uses teleport. Remember, PPXE needs to eliminate 3 survivors in order to tie this round. Excellent gameplay from both sides. A lot of that maneuvering and the patience, able to chip away over here. I do not believe this Bonbon has detention. We do not see the red eyes. We only see one red eye, but that's not detention. And it looks like Dow 5 is going to win this round. I do not think that this Bonbon has the ability to get another survivor down. And that is exactly what happens. Wow. I just did a lot of talking. Good job from GG. GG. I knew I was going to do that one time. Like when I saw the name GG, I was like, I'm going to do that at least one time. And then I'm going to keep doing it. And then I'm going to tell myself I'm no longer going to do it. And then I'm going to do it once in a while as a gimmick. Anyways, this is round 1 victory going to GG. Wow. Really, really dominant performance from that Bonbon and dominant performance from the survivors, just chipping away at one another. And really, really great gameplay. So interesting strategy that I wasn't really expecting with that mercenary. I thought that mercenary used a lot of their elbow pads in the first kite. So although it would make sense, it seems like the forward did a really good job at luring that Bonbon away. And Bonbon, I understand where they came from. Let me just try to chip away, or at least I'm pretty sure I can hit them once or twice and then follow up with a regular attack. But that forward was able to live long enough and really force that hunter to lock in on him. And by doing so, it gave GG a breath of fresh air for sure. So, good gameplay from that forward. I think that was a turning point in the match because that Bonbon did really good early game against Merc. And we see that Mechanic and Priestess have been banned by DX. And we see that Dream Witch has been banned by GG. And we're just going to have to wait to see these character selections and these character routes. You know, I mentioned this when we were seeing, who was it? Was it MRC, Miracle, when they were playing? About how some of these teams with these Priestess players just have absolutely amazing coordination. You always know where the Priestess users are, or rather their portals. And we're seeing some survivors just saying, you know, I don't want to deal with this. I understand that Priestess is good on some maps more than others, but we've seen Priestess being used on Red Church and obviously Moonlit and Ever Sleeping Town, and just successfully being utilized with top-tier communication. I remember, what was it? COA 2 regionals, only 5% of teams, I think, had a Priestess. And then when it got to the finals, I think 25% of all matches had a Priestess within those short 2 or 3 months. Not to mention all of the bans that also affected Priestess as well. And then she's just been a problem child ever since. And we can see some of the graphics that are around in this area. I still think they're beautiful, so that's why I keep them up. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if there's a week or a day that I can't provide commentary, I'll try to cut that up quicker. And we have Explorer, Cowboy, Forward, and Mercenary against a Sculptor, who must, of course, try to eliminate as many people as they possibly can. Let's see how DX does on Sacred Hospital. And of course, that would make sense banning a Priestess because it's extremely annoying going against Priestess on Sacred Heart Hospital. You all know how I feel about Priestess. So throws that pallet down, is immediately going to transition to these double pallets. No, it does not go to the double pallets. That's right. Mercenary will just use their elbow pads and use it differently. We see that the Sculptor is going to move forward to somebody else because they don't want to waste their time on the mercenary. And the question is, who are they going to interact with? Mercenary is going to return to their decoding. And we will see. This can be a difficult spot over here for a lot of survivors. That's a really risky cipher, depending on which survivor is there. And we're going to see how they use this to their advantage. Again, we have a cowboy, explorer, we have a mercenary, and we have a forward. So that would make sense why the forward decided to use that cipher, because it's a forward player and they can get out. Oh, and he still gets the hit. Oh, that was a lot that just happened right there. That was a lot that just happened. Throws the pallet down, tries to get the boost. When you throw that pallet down to get the boost, it makes your forward dash faster. And that's what that forward was trying to do. However, the Sculptor pushed him back. Chips away at him one more time. He is at 25% health. He's going to use his football to go up the stairs and try to kite as long as they can. It seems like DX may move on and is going to continue pressuring some of these ciphers, knowing that eventually they're going to come across the Explorer, and hits the Explorer once. Explorer throws that pallet down, hits the Explorer again, gets the blink and the hit. Explorer is now down. That is one of the consequences of having a slow decoding team, is that ability for the hunter to just simply move on and be able to find the next survivor. However, it shows you also the versatility of those rescue survivors, because they can kite longer, which allows the team to continue doing their thing. In this case, the best thing was DX and their ability to just continue moving it forward, not panicking, constantly being dynamic and switching back and forth to the wave that benefited this person as a surfer the most. And that is what I appreciate about DX. And now we see that no rescue has happened before half. So if they do not rescue Explorer, they are going to rescue Explorer. But if Explorer goes down, Explorer will be eliminated. And now they are going to, doesn't hit Explorer right here. Remember, Explorer doesn't have too much in regards to the ability to escape situations like that. Does not have a lot to escape situations like that. Good job from the Sculptor. You could see that it was difficult too, because when forwards used their football in hospital and went up the stairs, forward broke line of sight. And because I don't think forward was expecting that Sculptor to leave, and because of that unpredictability, if you will, that unpredictable move, we're seeing how that benefited DX and the ability to sneak up on Explorer. Excellent gameplay from DX. One person eliminated, 2 ciphers left. There is not a single survivor that has full health. And again, showing you why Sculptor has so much map control and map pressure. Hits the mercenary. Mercenary is going to go down. Showing you how when these sculptures collide and increase in speed, you can really get that sort of acceleration to do a lot of damage. This is why Sculptor is so scary with max presence, and it's also the reason why a lot of survivors will use somebody like First Officer, and they're using characters like Explorer. So when you try to use that second ability for that vision, if you will, or first ability, whatever, that allows you to finish off the cipher with an Explorer. So let's see how this character goes down. Beautiful move from the Sculptor. Excellent move from the Sculptor. Have not seen a lot of cowboy play recently, especially with this meta of survivors and especially after the adjustment, but it's good to see one. And let's see how this character is going to, gets chipped one last time. So that character is at 75% of their health reduced, 25% remaining. Now is going to pick up 445, going to chair 445. We see that they're going in for rescue. Are they going to get the rescue in time? Just needs to hit him once. Hits him, gets it before the rescue. This is a 4-person elimination. Absolutely stellar gameplay, looking very grim in the beginning of the game, going against the mercenary. elbow pads out, decides to transfer out, has to go against the forward, chips away from the forward, makes a little bit of an unpredictable move, and uses the broken line of sight that should have favored the forward in favor of the Sculptor, and decided to go and find that Explorer and able to sneak up on him, get the Explorer down, and from there, the rest is now history. We see that Dow 5 was able to get those 5 points there. Now, this is going to put GG in a tough spot because GG now has to eliminate all 4 survivors in order to at least tie this round. Now, GG's not in the worst spot possible, and that's because they won the first round. So they won the first round, so now it's round 2, and they just faced a 4-person elimination in match 1. The question is GG PPXia going to be able to come out and provide a 4-person elimination in order just to secure a tie? Now that changes up everything for Dow 5. What they have to do, they only need to get 1 survivor out in order to win this. However, the more they can get out, the better for them, especially in the case of a tie in the overall day of matchmaking between the two. And the biggest thing as well is when you're in a position, when you're the second team to go in a round, you have a lot of favorability because to a degree, you now know, hey, this is what I need. This is what we need in order to win. This is what we need in order to propel forward. And that is something that's going to be an advantage to them because now that they know they only need 1 survivor out, it really dictates how you play the overall match. As an example, there are times where you would go in for a rescue in a situation like this where you only need 1 survivor out. Sometimes you don't need to. It depends on the circumstances and how conservative you want to play in order to really get as many people out as possible. And we see that Bonbon has been banned. We see Sear has been banned. And we see Forward has been banned. We know that PPXE is a really, really good Bonbon player, and that is why Bonbon is being voted, or rather banned for this series. Going forward, I doubt we're going to see Bonbon again. And we see Mechanic, Gravekeeper, Mercenary, and a Priestess against a Dream Witch. Haven't really seen much of Dream Witch. At least not within this series, so it's good to see Dream Witch back. One of the most dynamic, fluid, complicated characters to go against, especially on Arms Factory. And we'll see how this works out. And we're going to get right into the match. Again, GG PPXE must eliminate all 4 survivors in order to at least tie this round. And let's see how they do. We see that the Mechanic has already put their doll down. We see ZYJ trying to transition out. Is going to leech back towards the shack area. Let's see where the main follower is going to go. Is going to take this pallet out. Move to the main follower. The leech is still at shack. Main follower is going to be able to get a hit. And I believe that they are using Blink, to my knowledge. Because if it was Patroller or whatever. Oh, already gets the Mechanic down. Beautiful gameplay from PPXia. That's right. The leech eventually had to catch back up. I had like a little brain fart right there. I wasn't paying attention. The leech ended up coming back. Remember, the further away the Mechanic runs from that leech, the leech is automatically going to come back and really just tag them just like they did. That was beautiful gameplay. Wow. That was really good. That was excellent. And we see that ZYJ still has their leech on them. Gravekeeper over here waiting. Doesn't want to rescue too early, but has to get the rescue off. Hits the Gravekeeper. Doesn't want to bother anymore. Goes after the Gravekeeper. Remember that the leech is still... Hits the Gravekeeper before the dig goes off. Gravekeeper is going to go down. Remember, Mechanic, even if Mechanic runs, there is a leech on Mechanic. And that's why Dream Witch is playing a little bit more aggressively on that Gravekeeper. Is going to leech the Gravekeeper, knowing that one's here. And the question is, does PPXia have that much confidence in the ability to follow up with the Mechanic? There's no other way than to wait and See, we see this movement. Now Gravekeeper has been down. They're at 3 ciphers. Remember, Dow 5 only has to get 1 survivor out. ZYJ running. We see that that's the leech. The leech has been removed. Mechanic has been placed down. Are they going to go in for the rescue? Yes, of course they are. Gets hit by 1 shot. Now, question is they're going to leech this character, the mercenary, and we have 2 survivors who are leeched. The mechanic is no longer leeched because that's the leech that hit the mechanic and that disappears. So that's the difference between the follower and the leech. At least that's how I differentiate the two. Blinks, hits the mechanic, gets the mechanic back down. Remember, 3 ciphers, has to eliminate all 4 survivors for a tie, showing the dominance of this Dream Witch. And let's see what this priestess is going to do next. Immediately portals. All 4 survivors are up. Let's see what this main follower is going to do. CYJ still waiting over here. Going to try to... So ZYJ is going to get leeched. Has to deal with the leech now and the main follower. The further she runs... Okay, that was a good, excellent placement from PPXE. Gets the stun and is really multitasking against 2 of these at the same time. Gets the hit on Mechanic. Mechanic is now down. They are at 2 ciphers left. 2 of these ciphers are right next to each other, though, or relatively. And so the question is what is that decode in progress? Everybody has been healed. I do not believe any other survivor has been leeched. They're taking their time. They're not playing stupid. They're taking those leeches off, knowing that they only need to get 1 off or 1 out. They're going to leech the priestess. And if you guys are confused on which characters are leeched, it's that white indicator, the white globe. The purple globe is the ability to remove the leeches from what I can remember. PPXE is going to move towards XM, knowing that priestess has a leech on them. 2 ciphers still remain, and you can see communication between them. Going to hop that. It's going to get that little boost from the pallet. Going to transition. We call this area ruins. Transitioning. Doesn't have blink for 32 seconds. Let's see how Gravekeeper uses. Throws the pallet down. Doesn't want to deal. Immediately transitions from the main body. Doesn't want to have to watch that whole pallet break-in animation. It's going to take this pallet down as well. Changes. Remember, that's something that's one of the strong points of Dream, which moves the main body, but also expects the Gravekeeper to probably come back. We see the first hit. Beautiful job from the Dream Witch. They're still at 2 ciphers. Gravekeeper going to try to transition into the hospital. Moves over here. That spawn's still going to move forward. Blinks through there. The question is, will this follower have enough time? Tries to swing. Gravekeeper, good job at taking that down. They are still at 2 ciphers. Remember, the late game strategy of Dream, which is what makes her really, really scary. Positioning these followers and leeches accordingly to make sure that the ciphers can't pop off. One of the ciphers by the priestess at 53%. One of the others takes that portal down. You see this right here. Going to Vault. Changes to the main body. Still, we are at 2 ciphers, really shutting this game down, slowing the pace of it down, really hugging these ciphers. We see that Gravekeeper is just a 1-shot. Blink is and goes down, blinks through the wall, swings. That's what I was talking about. The ability to swing and blink and connect to immediately move, or the ability to blink and immediately swing. That blink time is so important. It's the difference between winning and losing. I have said that in some of the previous gameplays from before. Let's see PPXE moving towards some of these ciphers. They are down to 1 cipher. One of the ciphers is at approximately probably 60%, 65% maybe. Getting up there towards the 75%. And let's see what they're going to do, because one has to go in for the rescue. And that's exactly what they're going to do, go in for that rescue and try to make sure that at least one survivor can get out. They're at 96%. This is looking pretty good for Dow 5, where they only need one survivor to escape for the round, but they need as many survivors to escape because of the point, so we'll see how that works. They popped the cipher. Let's see where Dream Witch is going to relocate towards. WW taking that. Nope, is not taking that gate down. Let's see what she's going to do. She's going to use the portals to her advantage to buy as much time. Interesting strategy not to be super aggressive to take that gate down, but there's probably something that I'm missing because now one of these are going to be near. Does she have detention? I can't. Yeah, she does have detention. They must be careful. Are they going to be able to kite long enough for either detention to run out? Let's see the movements. The only person that has a leech on them as of now is the Priestess. Gets the blink, misses the hit. Will probably connect here. Missed that hit as well. Good job from the survivors. Not underestimating this hunter. Doing the best that they can to get as many survivors out. Taking their time. Listen to me. Oh yeah, why aren't they being aggressive? Yeah, it's probably a good thing that they're not. Probably why my win rate as survivor been going down. That high tier, late game strategy is so important. That patience, that dedication. You can see that they're probably waiting for detention to run out. This follower does not have detention. I mean, it does have detention, but not blink. The main body has blink. They're probably waiting for detention to run out. We see the Priestess is up here. Oh, it's going to Patroller. Switch to Patroller. When did that happen? Why am I not paying attention? When did the Patroller thing happen? Hits them. Gets them down. They're trying to take the gate down. And detention has ran out. There is no more detention. Pushes them out away from this. We see that the other survivor on the other side of the map is taking that other exit gate down. And we're going to probably see a transition. And most likely 2 survivors will get out. You can see the survivor looking back, making sure that the detention has ran out. Gravekeeper waiting. Man, talk about some patience. Talk about the patience. Talk about the strategy. They got 2 of them out. Excellent job from all competitors within this round. And that is going to be a victory in regards to round 2 for Dow 5. So now we are tied. We are going to round 3 of this series between both of these teams. Oh, that patience. Talk about patience from the Dream Witch, patience from the survivors. In such a fast-paced game, that can be a difficult concept. It's one thing if you play a game that requires patience from the beginning, but to be able to put that on and off switch, to flip that at will between fast, high-intensity gameplay and later gameplay is a very difficult switch for a lot of people to manage. And here we go. We are going to do the 3rd round between 2 excellent teams who are currently tied right now with 1 win each, 1 loss each, showing their versatility and ability to use multiple characters on a high skill level. We see that Dream Witch has been banned. We see that Sculptor has been banned. Forward, Seer, and Mercenary. I'm doing all of the day 3 all in the same day, like back to back to back. And man, this is a lot. It's like 3 hours of commentating. To do that 3 hours a day for 3 days, that's like 9-10 hours plus all of the downloading and video editing. Yeah, there's probably gonna be some days where I just show you the gameplay and I just stay cool. Cause that's probably gonna be the honest part of me. And I don't want to talk about the character selection until I know that they are locked in. I think when it's colored like that, when it's engraved in a color, I think that may mean that it's been locked in. So we're going to see Cowboy still being utilized. We're going to see Perfumer. We're going to see Gravekeeper, and we're also going to see Priestess. So interesting how Perfumer, for some teams, are more of a third round selection now because she doesn't offer the same sort of versatility as some of the other survivors against the current meta. That's another video that I have to make. The reason why we don't see Perfumer in the first 2 rounds of a lot of these competitions, although that's not true because some teams may still try to use her, we're only going to know as the tournament continues progressing forward later this week. And we see that DX has chosen Bloody Queen, and it's going to depend on the map. To be honest with you, I don't really know what the map is until the gameplay goes. And like I mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, I do not watch this before you. I tried it. That's actually how I can do these projects. You might say, wow, this takes a lot of time. It definitely does, but I'm doing this live, so it's not like I got to watch it and then go back to it and talk about it. I just MC as I talk about it. Obviously, as I watch it, and then that's how I look at that analysis and gameplay for later on in my YouTube videos, and it also provides an opportunity for all of us to see some of that high-tier gameplay instead of you constantly having to rely on somebody else to tell you what they're seeing. You can see it for yourself, and ladies and gentlemen, you know what else you can see? This match right now, Bloody Queen on Moonlit River. See, I got so intense. I was doing good, and then I had a little fart. All right, going to transition into this tent. We call that the tent, but decided to say, nah, you know what? I don't want to deal with tent right now. And is going to mirror and teleport. Actually does not teleport. And somehow happens to stumble upon the priestess. Let's see what this priestess is able to do. Already had a portal set in place. Excellent portal. Does not have their ability for another 5 seconds. And priestess knows that. And priestess is going to really have to use the portal to their advantage relative to when she uses her mirror. Gets the hit on the priestess. Priestess now running back towards 10. Excellent maneuvering from DX. And let's see what Priestess is going to be able to do here. Moves back towards the back of 10. Blink is now up. So Bloody Queen does have Blink. We're going to see how Priestess uses these portals. Is going to throw that down. Gets the boost. The skill mirror will be up in 1 second. I would expect a mirror, close quarter combat, like this is MMA, and then a blink, but let's see if she can hit. Hits! Gets her down, does not have to use blink. Excellent maneuvering from this Bloody Queen and Patience. They are still at 5 ciphers. However, Perfumer is going to get one of those down. Let's see if Cowboy has the ability to harass. And let's see if DX can get this Priestess on the rocket chair, was able to avoid that Cowboy. And remember, there is a dangerous strategy to this. There is a really big contraindication to this sort of use, and that is that there's not going to be a lot of decoding because of that harassing, and very good mirror from the Bloody Queen to shut that Cowboy down, tries to blink, hits the Cowboy down now, and now the question is, how long is Priestess going to be able to survive? This would be a relatively decent spot against some, or rather many hunters, but against a Bloody Queen, that distance is easily going to be kind of shortened with that mirror ability. And gets the hit from a vault on the window before getting any sort of possible boost dependent on the Priestess build, and is able to follow up and able to chair this Priestess. And we see Cowboy has been healed by a teammate, I think, and did not self-heal. And they are still at 3 ciphers. We talked about this. This is one of the dangers of playing Cowboy. If you don't have that ability to connect with your harassment ability based on hunters being clever and outmaneuvering those, it really is going to slow that decoding down. And so let's see if they're able to pull something off. Gravekeeper decided not to absorb a hit there, so I think that they're going to separate themselves and try to settle for hopefully a potential tie. We're going to see if that's going to work though. We're going to see if that's going to work. Again, we talked about this. We talked about some of the dangers of using these team comps, and if they work out well, they can be extremely rewarding. But a lot of these hunters, they face a lot of these compositions, a lot of these play styles. And the question is Cowboy going to have the ability to somehow harass here? But now that Bloody Queen has a wow, beautiful lasso, and is able to avoid that hit, and he does not have his lasso for another 3 seconds, and Bloody Queen realizes that and kind of capitalizes on that lasso and is able to make that judgment call saying, all right, I missed my attack on you, boo-boo, but I'm about to put your teammate in the rocket chair. So good job from DX. Beautiful lasso from Cowboy. They are at 2 ciphers, 1 cipher currently being decoded at 31%. And the question is what is 445 going to be able to do with this Cowboy? And we see that Blink is not going to be up for another 14 seconds, which gives the Cowboy a little bit of time, but it's really going to matter. It's going to depend on how he's able to use this ability, especially over here. Blink is going to be back in 3, 2, 1, and we'll see if we see it being used. I'm sure we will. Not yet. Uses the mirror instead. Doesn't have to really use the blink. Gets the hit. Cowboy is now down 2 ciphers, still remaining. 84 and 44% progress. And they pop the cipher. That's really important. And now they're going to teleport away. You see a lot of that aggression. And we see that GG is still over here. They're at 1 cipher. Cowboy has been rescued. Really trying to prevent that. Hits the Gravekeeper out of the shovel. Is going to move. You see that 45-degree angle? That makes it very difficult. Right there. Is going to follow up with the Gravekeeper. The question is does this hunter have trumps card? But it doesn't seem like it matters because since Blink has been used, or teleport, or whatever it was, there's going to be no skill cooldown for a while. So let's see what DX is going to do in this area. Puts them in the rocket chair on the cipher that was being decoded. Good multitasking from DX. DX is really showing how scary of a hunter they can be. Cowboy uses a football. Going to try to go in for a rescue. Perfumer, the only one that still has full health. Has to use these perfumes. Uses the perfume correctly. Perfume's back. It's going to buy a little bit of time. Let's see. Cowboy still being pushed away. Bloody Queen realizes that. Gravekeeper has map control. Has vision. On all 3. Gets him down. Gravekeeper down. Perfumer. Cowboy. just start saying one-word things. Palette. You can see that she thought that maybe somebody would be there. Now Cowboy is back at trying to take that cipher down. What's the percentage at? Is she going to be able to push him off? She might be able to push him off. Perfumer absorbs the hit. They do a cipher pop. All 3 survivors up. Excellent gameplay from the survivors, having the ability to do the best that they can to still stay alive. You see that a lot of them are transitioning away. They got to be careful. Bloody Queen still has that teleport, and she's got to be careful not using it too early. With that detention, should be able to hit this. Oh, and uses that football that he still has. Avoids a hit, but that may work in Bloody Queen's favor if they don't take down this Cowboy. And they take him down. We'll see. Excellent juking from this Cowboy. Hits the Cowboy down. They have to try to cheer this person down super fast and then teleport. Did Cowboy buy enough time? And the answer, we are about to find out. Let's see if Bloody Queen can teleport. Did Cowboy just buy enough time? Just bought enough time. Every second counts. Oh, no! No, whoa! Picks up the Perfumer! Wow! What was that? Absolutely amazing from DX. Oh, wow. Now the question is are these survivors going to have the ability to adapt from this situation? Let's see what happens. They go in and they get the rescue from the cowboy. You can see that she got a really, really good ability, but she's got to be careful. Teleport doesn't come back up for another 60 seconds. By then, Perfumer would be eliminated. She's got approximately 30 more seconds. Actually, probably about 32, 33. It depends on her build. And we're going to see. She's got to make sure that they don't get too distracted. If she gets too distracted, then they're going to go in for the rescue. They get them down right here. Let's see. They're going to chair them, but if they get the rescue, then both of them are going to be able to get out of that exit gate, and all of it's still going to be a tie. Let's see what happens. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a tie. Perfumer has been rescued. Both of them are going to go out of the exit gate. Teleport's not up for another 25 seconds. Really, really good game from GG. Their ability to go back and make sure that they get the rescue. I cannot believe that Perfumer got picked up before exiting. That was remarkable and showed you the dedication of DX saying, listen, you remember my name. You remember my name because it is going to be very difficult for any team to win against me. Great job. Great composure from GG, especially with the early game and with the ability from DX to avoid any sort of real meaningful harassment from Cowboy. But Cowboy's ability to really go and get that football really helped out. That survivability, the ability to be versatile and dynamic. Great gameplay from all of these top tiers. That was very, very exciting gameplay. It doesn't get really better than that. Now let's see what some of the bans are going to be. Of course, we're seeing Dream Witch. We're seeing Bomb Bomb being banned. Nobody wants to deal with PPXE as Bomb Bomb. We also have a Seer that has been banned. We have a Mechanic that has been banned. And we have Mercenary. Mercenary, Mechanic, and Seer. We're going to wait for these survivors to be locked in. And remember that both of these teams are tied as of now, 1 win, 1 loss within this 3-round series, and it is up to PPXia. If PPXia can get 3 survivors eliminated, it is a GG. No pun intended. The round will be over, and in conclusion, GG will win. However, if Dow 5 can get 3 survivors out, then that means that they win. And this is why these two teams are considered some of the best teams in the competitive circuit as of now. And we'll see how this all fruitions going forward. And speaking of forward, hey, that was a pretty good transition right there. Speaking of forward, he just so happens to be selected right there. So it seems like the selections occur after that the team is no longer highlighted. So we see Forward, we see Gravekeeper, we see Priestess, and we also see Cowboy. Cowboy using back-to-back, and we're going to see if Dow 5 has a different ability of using Cowboy's harassment a little bit better than what we saw from GG. However, remember that that was all because DX did a great job at countering the Cowboy. The Cowboy did nothing wrong. And let's see how this is going to survive, how these characters and these players are going to duke it out for the victory of week 5, day 3. I'm going to speed this up. Actually, I can't speed it up. I was going to try to speed it up, but I forgot that I want that character selection phase. I want that character selection phase. It's part of the reality of it. It's exciting. And we see Violinist being selected, and it is all on the line in this one match. Unless they tie, I don't know what happens, but whatever. We'll figure that out in later videos. And look at the animation for Violinist. This is so cool. That is really, really cool. And let's see how Cowboy is going to work in favor of these teams. Again, you're seeing GG kind of taking that approach of I am going to use Violinist to counter all of you. And Dow 5 is pretty much saying, we don't really want Perfumer or a character like that. We want harassment. We want versatility. We want support. And that's what we're going to see out of this Cowboy, and let's see how it's done. PPXE is spawning directly in, going to an area that we refer to as God Spawn, very difficult area for any hunter, and we're seeing that Priestess is immediately transitioning out. that's kind of a choke point. Not all the time, but most of the time, a lot of survivors, when you spawn in that area, you pretty much know that a lot of the hunters are going to go over there, minus a few hunters that are not good. Immediately gets the hit against the priestess with that skill. Wow, that was extremely impressive. And let's see what's going to happen. Blink is not up for another 13 seconds against these. And we see that WW is going to try to move towards the Cowboy. Is Cowboy going to be able to lasso just in time? You see Violinist having that discipline, doesn't follow the skill, so the skill has a shorter cooldown, and they're going to take the roller coaster immediately. The question is, did they hit the switch to go to stop 3? They did not, and we're going to see how this is going to work. He knows Priestess is going to go over there because Priestess has portals and she's going to keep doing her thing. I can't believe that that first skill hit against that Priestess. That was absolutely amazing. Again, showing the danger of having a Cowboy on your team for any hunter to go against. I'm changing my tone a little bit, aren't I? And let's see how this is going to work in favor of them. They got to be careful of the skill. Run straight, hits them, gets them down. 5 ciphers still remain. And remember, when you have a Cowboy who is trying to harass, it slows down a little bit of the decoding. However, in this case, you saw that the Priestess was able to run right towards the Cowboy and where the Cowboy was decoding. And that's a very important aspect, is that the Cowboy probably purposely ran over there, understanding that the Violinist was going to go to Godspawn, and he probably went to first stop the decode, knowing that Priestess would eventually work their way towards him. So there really wasn't too much of a slowdown in decoding with that sort of team strategy. Now, are they going to be able to get this Priestess? Hits the Priestess. Priestess is going to go down. They are down to 4 ciphers. We see Cowboy, though, only at that halfway mark. Remember, I don't know how long or how far that Cowboy had to transfer to get to that first stop. But either way, Cowboy made sure that they were in position. Now, WW is going down for that second time. It's going to be put in the rocket chair for the second time. Decoding is currently a relatively slow, but that's going to happen with this sort of team composition. And we got to see how fast Cowboy, or how far along Cowboy is over there. Seems Cowboy is at 80%. Forward is at 75%. And we're going to have to see if Gravekeeper can pull off a rescue here. I think Gravekeeper is to the left of the screen. Violinist is trying to see where he's going to be at. Is he going to be able to get a rescue in time? Let's see how this moves. I do not know if Gravekeeper will get that rescue. Gravekeeper may just leave it alone. Gravekeeper chooses to leave it alone. It seems like Gravekeeper kind of got a little close to that Violinist because of the tinnitus and forced the Violinist to have to really camp over there. And now, because Cowboy and Priestess used that roller coaster, Cowboy's not going to have too much over here in terms of that. Now, let's see what Cowboy decides to do. Wow, excellent move. I didn't even know you could do that with a lasso. That's awesome. Let's see what Cowboy does. Cowboy is moving. Is he going to... He needs to make sure he doesn't vault too early. Look at that discipline. Look at the discipline. Hits him. Gets the hit. He absorbs the hit. I was a little confused there. And now is Violinist going to be able to get the skill? Nope. Violinist is going to use the ult. Hits the Cowboy down. They are still at 4 ciphers. PPXia needs to only eliminate 3 in order to get that victory for GG against Dow5. We're going to see how that works. GG going to put JX over here in the corner, forcing a survivor to go in for a long rescue. And they may not even go in for a rescue, but they're probably going to, because they know that being able to win against a Violinist now is going to be very difficult. But ZYJ already in position. Takes the hit. It does seem like ZYJ tried to use their football there. Now it really needs to come in handy with that football. Good maneuvering from Cowboy. Excellent versatility from that Violinist. The question is Cowboy is forward? Yep, forward's gonna go back on the cipher. They are at 2 ciphers now. Forward running away. XM coming forward. Let's see how he's going to try to get this rescue in. It's all going to come down to this ability. Let's see this ability. Does he use it? Gravekeeper needs the patient. Hits the Gravekeeper. Uses the ult. Amazing discipline. Amazing discipline from that gravekeeper. I have no idea how he ended up pulling off that rescue. Good move. We see Cowboy did get hit, and now Violinist is going to hit him outside of his dig. Violinist really wants to get this gravekeeper down, but says, you know what, I'm going to move on. There's 2 ciphers. I have time. Is forward going to be able to harass, though? That's the big thing. Is forward going to be able to buy enough time? It's going to be a little difficult for a forward. He's able to... Oh! He stuffs it with the skill. That was absolutely amazing from PPXia, who now has 2 survivors eliminated, 1 survivor down, and this is going to put Dow 5 in a very difficult spot. What a good stuff from the Violinist. Excellent prediction. Excellent movements from ZYJ to try to get a long stun in there to buy himself a lot of time. That was a difficult area with that pallet down. Wow. The question is are they... Yep, he's going to have to drop the forward. I don't think the Violinist will have enough time to get that forward on that rocket chair. And so now Violinist just needs to eliminate 1 survivor, to my understanding. There's probably something I'm missing. That's like a thing that I do. Forward is now up. Remember, Violinist still has teleport readily available. Forward still has half of a football. Actually, no, they both have footballs now. Forward does not have half a football. He has a quarter. Let's see how much time XM can buy. Gonna wait. Gonna use it now. Uses the ult. Good discipline from Gravekeeper. Gets the hit. ZYJ still over there. PPXia playing really, really good. That should be like a highlight reel of what PPXia was able to do with that ability with the Priestess inside 2-story. This area right here that the camera's looking at is called 2-story. And then where that survivor is, we call that ruins. Or actually, I'm sorry, we call it God spawn. Although I'm not sure if we should call that anymore because a lot of hunters, they're so dominant now that they can still kill you in there. So it's not uncommon for a bunch of survivors to just leave the area. Still making sure that that tinnitus doesn't disappear. Let's see what this... They have a pocket watch. Let's see what ZYJ is going to do. Is he going to be able to survive it? Good pocket watch. Misses that. I'm so thankful for the white highlight. Like, it gives us a good idea of what we're looking at. And let's see. Violinist. Is he going to be able to hit this ability? Decides. Oh, came so close. Did he pick up a football as well? Either way, the game has concluded. Good game from both of these players, both of these teams. This was 1 hour and 12 minutes because it did go to round 3. I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. I appreciate our time together. Thank you for spending some of it with me. And if there's days where I can't provide the commentary, then I'll still try to chop everything up so it can be organized on the YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. And this week we will have week 6, day 1, 2, and 3. Bye.